be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whoa, do you have that confirmed? How we doing? FT Live. You can't just drop that right as the show starts. Wait, it's got to be a real account. What's up, everyone?
Confirmed. Don't get deked in on a
Monday.
Monday.
Kratz. I'm not going to say it yet. We have breaks. We can look at it during the break to make sure it's legit. It's legit.
Thumbs up on the other thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
about.
Okay. There's a lot going on. What's up? Happy postseason, everyone.
Yeah, sorry.
It is freaking October.
Dropping bombs on you.
What a damn weekend it was. We have a lot to get to. Can I complain right off the jump then? I'll do one pro and one con, okay, Kratz? The pro, we hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube this weekend. Let's go.
Thank you.
200,000. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate you. Whether you like or disagree with us, we're here for you either way to talk it out. And then I'm just going to complain before we charge the mound. So Tuesday starts playoff games, and they mostly overlap. What the hell is that, Kratz? Why can't we go from 12 to 12?
You can't have a 12 o'clock game.
Yes,
you
we
don't
can.
You don't want that. As a fan, you want that. You want a 12 o'clock game. They're definitely getting more out of a 3 o'clock game. As a regional sport, they are not worried about what the Rays are not worried about what the Phillies are doing.
That's why we're a regional sport, because we don't spread it out like that. I'm telling you, that's a mistake. 1 p.m. Start the games at 1. Last game can start at like close to 9. I know that we don't have a West Coast team hosting a wild card. I'm just saying, I saw the schedule come out and I was like, cool, I only get to watch 2 games instead of 4.
You better get out more than one TV, dude. Spend some money.
No. I have multiple devices. I cannot listen to 2 broadcasts. I want to be able
You
to
don't have
hear
to
the
listen to
great
the broadcast. Just wait till
Todd
I'm on.
Frazier on the radio. Right, exactly. I'm sure they'll overlap yours too. So I'll have to make a tough decision.
No, it won't be overlapped in my house. It will just be AJ. Actually, I'm actually turning the TV off and just going audio. I want him to paint the picture for me.
You won't. It's on TV.
I don't have to. That'll be Adam Amin that has to paint the picture.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
No, I just want to hear it.
Play. It's
No.
television. It's not
television
radio.
is different.
That's actually what would piss me off when sometimes the radio guys would go to TV and they're like, the 3-2 is a slider inside corner. I'm like, it's television. I don't need every pitch.
Yes,
I'm good, bro.
It's
pet peeve. All right, let's charge the damn mound. We got a lot to get to. Okay, let's start with the postseason bracket revealed. And it's very pretty. I like the dirt background. They did a nice job, whoever designed it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
See, I can compliment the league at times.
They do
great
things right every once in a while.
Yeah, pitch clock's going to be cool. And we have, if you're not watching and listening to the pod, Marlins, Phillies, Diamondbacks, Brewers on one side of the wild card bracket. The other side has Rangers, Rays, Blue Jays, Twins. Wait, the Astros aren't playing in a wild card series? What happened?
Sorry, they won the division.
No way.
I mean, Alex Bregman summed it up.
What did he say?
He was talking trash, dude. Did you not see this online?
I actually got tipped off by you, but I haven't actually heard it yet. So let's run that. Alex Bregman, after the Astros decided to just very casually do a classy champagne toast after they clinched a playoff spot, a wild card spot. They did not get drunk. They just had like a little cheers. Let's take a little sip of our champagne because we do this all the time. We like to win divisions. Let the Rangers get drunk and then get shut out by the Mariners the next day. We will win this division. That's what they did. And do we have Alex Bregman? Oh, stand by. We'll give you Breggy in 1 sec. But
it's coming. But it's such a great Alex Bregman line.
Hey, the Astros deserve it, Kratzy. I mean, this team was not supposed to be where they were looking at the weekend. They needed a billion things to go their way, and they all did, including them sweeping up the Arizona Diamondbacks, which included a game that had Merrill Kelly on the mound. All right, Breggy's ready. Let's hear from him first.
A lot of people were wondering what it was going to be like if the Stros didn't win the division. I guess we'll never know. A lot of people were wondering what it was going to be like if the Stros didn't win the division. I guess we'll never know.
Mic drop. I mean, what else can you say? I think the narrative too. I saw Evan Grant. He debunked McTaggarty's theory, or McGarity, whatever his name is, down in Houston. He said, "Well, the Astros, they didn't go out and get drunk like the Rangers did." I'm summing up the words. And Evan Grant said, "The Rangers didn't go out and get drunk. The videos that they showed were of Austin Hedges and some analytics guys getting after it. little bit different. But man, Alex Bregman, you couldn't have summed it up better. Good for you guys, because they did it through a way that people didn't think it was gonna happen this way. They thought they were gonna cruise through, and they didn't. And the Rangers gave them a tough time, and yet who comes out on top at the end of the season?
Listen, the Astros snuck in the division. The Rangers had it the whole year pretty much. Then the Mariners took over, remember? Oh, did they shoot their shot too soon? They did. They didn't get in.
He gone.
And it's just it's amazing to me that the Astros won this division again. All the things, I mean, the Astros went through a lot this year. Injuries, dudes going down. I mean, and the Rangers basically played it as good as they could have. Now their bullpen kind of fell apart at the end. It's going to be interesting when they play the Rays here coming up. But, I mean, good for you, Astros. You get time off. You get to set your rotation. And if you're the Twins or the Blue Jays, you get Verlander, Fromber, Javier, and then whoever they throw forth, whether it's Hunter Brown or whoever, in a 5-game series, and you're going to get Verlander back again. Good luck.
The hottest bullpen in baseball right now.
Good
Their
luck,
bullpen
boys.
is on freaking fire. Also, though, the Rangers did not do everything they could. They just lost 3 out of 4 this past weekend to the Mariners,
we're not talking about that.
including a 1-0 loss yesterday.
The Rangers tried. They won 90 games. Where they go, 90 and 72?
Yeah,
they win last year.
So close to setting themselves up.
They were, but they lost Scherzer. They lost. I mean, Evaldi missed time. You know, they've lost a lot. And so, listen, it's an accomplishment for them to go from where they were the last few years to making the playoffs. Now, listen, I know obviously you want to win the division, but them just making the playoffs, it's a big deal. It should not be understated how big of a deal it is for them just to make the postseason. Listen, I get it, but for me, listen, congratulations, Rangers. You made it. You made the postseason with all the moves you made, all the things you guys went through too. It's an accomplishment that deserves to be partied on.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is a major accomplishment, a team that not too long ago was really bad. And they have turned it around with a mix of good prospects and great offseason signings, even though they cost a ton. And I know DeGrom hasn't worked out, but Evaldi at the beginning of the year was great. Seager is an absolute stud. He's the best hitter in the league right now. And Marcus Simeon's worked out really well, plays for them every day. Okay, so we'll get to previewing the matchups. The Seattle Mariners miss out on the postseason.
Your team. Your two teams. Your
Seattle
two teams
Mariners
and the
are
Padres.
out.
Padres finished over 500,
Out.
which is kind of funny. They're all like, we finished 500.
Woo, guys, let's carry this momentum
boys?
into
Yes.
next year without Hader and Snell. Anyway, we have plenty of time
Possible-
for the Padres in the
possible Soto.
offseason. True. Cal Raleigh, who is one of the best catchers in baseball, did not hold back when addressing why the Mariners are not in the playoffs.
Over in the other locker room right there, they've added more than anybody else, and you saw where it got them this year. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, that's for sure. But going out and getting those big names, people who've done it, people who've been there, people who are leaders, people who have shown time and time again that they can be successful in this league is definitely gonna, would help this clubhouse, would help this team, would maybe help those little things, that we need.
I don't know anything about skinning cats, but I do know perspective. When it talks about making the playoffs or not, he's not looking at the Astros. He didn't say anything about the Astros. He was talking about the Rangers. The Rangers are in, like AJ said, and they are not. Yes, the Rangers didn't. The Rangers are have a perspective. They're looking up at the Astros. We didn't win the division. But for Cal to say this as a leader, I think it's very underrated what he's doing out there from the catching position. I think he was the fastest Mariners rookie to 52 homers since A-Rod, something crazy like that. So when he says something like that, maybe makes some people think, wait a minute, DePoto makes a ton of moves, but what does he actually go and get in free agency? We trade for somebody and then we extend Castillo, that kind of thing. I think it's a bold move by Cal to say it, but I think it's needed to be said because Rangers are in, They're packing up.
Ready for this? I'm going to unload a little bit
gosh. Oh, no. Yes,
No,
please.
no.
I can't wait.
This is necessary.
Okay.
The Seattle Mariners opening day payroll was $137.5 million. This is supposed to be their winning window, correct? Their payroll was higher in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. You did not spend to be a contender. They were missing a bat or two. I think that was pretty clear. Okay.
I think they can't argue that.
Now let's fast forward to the trade deadline. Oh, there's nothing available for anyone, right? The Miami Marlins acquired Josh Bell, Jake Berger, and David Robertson. They're in the playoffs. The Texas Rangers acquired Jordan Montgomery. Damn, they needed him. Max Scherzer, I know he went through the injuries, and Chris Stratton. They're in the playoffs. The Arizona Diamondbacks acquired Tommy Pham and Seattle's closer, Paul Sewald. They're in the playoffs. Yeah, the Angels are separate. They don't know what they're doing. That's Artie's disaster. The Toronto Blue Jays acquired Jordan Hicks. They're in the playoffs. The Houston Astros acquired Justin Verlander and Kendall Graveman. They're in the playoffs. The Seattle Mariners traded away their closer, Paul Sewald, and picked up 2 bats, but not premier middle-of-the-order bats. They're not in the playoffs.
Old facts. Why didn't they go get somebody? Maybe they didn't have the prospect capital. I don't know.
They have a ton of fucking prospects.
I'm just saying, I don't know. Why did they trade Paul Sewald? Because they blew some games down the end, too.
Remember the trade that they made with the
Rojas?
Mets?
Who was it? Rojas and they got Trevor
Canzone.
Gott. They sent Trevor Gott to the Mets
Canzone.
for nothing.
Trevor Gott, they just wanted to clear some money. So are you
For
operating as a for-profit only business, or do you want to also bring winning baseball to your fans? Because sometimes you can't have both. And also, playoff games make you a shitload of money in merchandise. They blew it.
Okay. They blew it when they started, too. Let's not forget. I mean, listen, I know it came down to the end. They were so bad the first half, though, including Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, but you can't put this all on Julio.
I'm not putting it all on Julio. But if you notice, he got hot and
I know,
caught
but
him
he had
up.
a great year.
I mean, but you still, if you're Julio Rodriguez.
But why can't you
no.
put it on Julio?
He carried them for like a month and a half. And also, look, you know how
the
sometimes
season's 6 months long.
I understand, but sometimes the back of the baseball card eventually will play itself out. This dude was 333 on base, 45 slug, 128 OPS plus. He had a very strong year. I would not even touch this on Julio. Was it as good as last year? No. But Julio Rodriguez is not the reason why they didn't make the playoffs. They did not do enough to build this team, and their freaking catcher called it out.
So what do they need? What do they need? They need to go out and get a 6th through 7th hitter because they have Eugenio Suarez. They have J.P. Crawford had a career year. We're talking only lineup. You're talking Cal Raleigh's still hitting dingers out of the whatever spot he's hitting, from the catching position, and Julio. So you're blaming on the 6 and 7 hitters that they didn't pick up. They didn't have enough length in their lineup.
Yes, they did not have enough length in their lineup.
A 6 and 7 hitter is going to cost you in free agency max.
No, dude.
$8 million a year.
Kratz.
Who have they gotten?
Kratz.
I agree.
Crawford 1, Rodriguez 2.
Okay.
Suarez 3,
Teoscar.
Raleigh 4. Those should be your 6-7 hitters.
Okay, so who'd they go get? Teoscar, he's pretty good.
They went and got him.
They went and got him. He did all right.
Teoscar after Raleigh.
Okay, keep going.
Ty France had a bad year.
Ty France had a bad year.
Rojas and Haggerty at the bottom. I'm
But
looking
that's
at
fine.
like
Haggerty's
the
a
end of the
speed
year.
guy. He won him on base for Crawford and the rest of the guys. That's fine.
That's a World Series winning batting order for you?
I mean, Raleigh hit – how many – didn't he hit 30 this year?
Yeah, but Raleigh should be – I think Raleigh even said he shouldn't be freaking cleaning up. He wants to be 6 or 7 because he's got bigger bats in the lineup. I don't know. You thought that was
of course he wants
roster?
more bats. Everyone wants more bats. I mean, geez. I mean, who's the best offense in baseball? They want more bats right now.
Okay, but is the Mariners lineup as good as
I mean, the Phillies? No.
the
The
Braves?
Braves? No.
The Dodgers? No.
They're built different, though. They're
Astros?
built on
No.
their pitching.
Dude, most of the playoff teams have better lineups than them, and they strike out too much.
The Twins strike out more
Do
than
better.
anybody. They're in the playoffs.
They're going to lose first round.
Bad.
Ooh, hot take from Braun. Hot take from Braun coming in hot.
Well, we're going to do our playoff predictions, so look forward to that. Let's finish with this before we move on. On the National League side, I just want to cover the team that totally fell apart down the stretch. The Chicago Cubs are not in the playoffs. And I will say this, I mean, they totally ran out of steam. Like, their bullpen was distraught, shot. Their offense slowed down. The part that stood out to me too, Kratz, was because I watched a lot of Cubs these last couple weeks. their defense was really good most of the year, and that slipped too. You know, a lot more mental mistakes. I know Seiya Suzuki is going to be the play that people look back at, but their defense as a whole was not as crisp the last few weeks. So just everything fell apart for them. They didn't deserve to be a playoff team.
Did it fall apart, or was it like a neat run that they made? I choose to believe, and because it's one of those things you can sit here and go, oh, I was right. I went on some Chicago radio stations that AJ doesn't want to go on, so I go on the Bobo. Like I go on the AM stations. AJ goes on the FM stations. But
I'm XM Sirius.
You're only XM. You're only the subscription listeners.
Yes.
No, I'm sitting there going, I just don't feel like this team has enough. And I got a little bit roasted, not a lot roasted, just a little bit roasted for it. And obviously now I'm sitting here, wow, you know, I'm so right. But I think it was more of like a neat run that, like, hey, we got to enjoy these games in the bleachers and have our potlucks in the bleachers that the Cubs do, all this like kind of gimmicky stuff. I just don't think they were that good. Yes, the defense did collapse at the end, but they were running on fumes. They were leaking every single time somebody would score in the first 4 or 5 innings. The bullpen was just like, normally you watch a Cubs game and it's like dudes dancing in the bullpen and it's real fun. We're doing the boat and everything. Every time they showed the bullpen cam, dudes were just like laying back like, please don't call again. What? Oh, I got to pitch again in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. I just don't think they had enough to make that run.
I just feel like they ran out of gas.
Yep.
I mean, they just ran out of gas. They went out. They went out and made some moves. Their starters ran out of gas. Even Justin Steele ran out of gas towards the end. It was just one of those situations where they made a good run. And listen, I give the Cubs credit, as we know. They went for it. We wanted them to trade everyone off. They went for it, and it came down to the end. But they ran out of gas.
G-Mar?
Yeah, they went out and tried.
They should have traded for relievers.
They should have,
They needed more pitching depth.
but relievers are hard to find.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They should have traded for relievers. You know who else didn't do anything? The Giants, which we'll get to. They fired Cap. Not his fault, but we'll get to that. And then also the Cincinnati Reds could have made it. There were a couple wins away.
Reds were close.
Dude, there
was a lot of close.
If the Reds should have traded for Jordan Montgomery. Easy to play Monday quarterback here, but damn, dude. Monty would have won them a few games. That pod's fresh right now. It's available on the FT YouTube page, but
they claimed a lot. They claimed a lot of guys. They were the waiver claim winners.
Yeah, no, they were whatever. I just they were close, man. That's frustrating. The Reds could have been in the playoffs this year. They did anything at the deadline.
They would have gotten smashed in the playoffs.
Whatever.
Smashed.
Right, let's do our poll question today. So we've got a couple. Let's start with the send-offs because there were some really cool ones. Which vet had the most memorable send-off? Keyword memorable, okay? Because Joey Votto is on this list, and his send-off was memorable. We'll get to it. Otherwise, you can choose Waino, Miggy, Zach Greinke, Brandon Crawford. I love how Votto's not on this list on the tweet we're showing right now. It's not goodbye, it's see you later, because Votto hasn't announced if he's going or not. Neither is Crawford or Greinke, but wouldn't it be embarrassing if MLB showed Votto like getting tossed on there? Yeah. We'll get to it. So vote right now, watchstadium.com/foul territory. And then I want to take some time now to send out our condolences to the Wakefield family, to the Red Sox, to AJ's good friend. Tim Wakefield passed away at the age of 57, way too freaking soon. And as you can see from this tweet from the Red Sox, they said, our hearts are broken with the loss of Tim Wakefield. Wake embodied true goodness, a devoted husband, father, and teammate, beloved broadcaster, and the ultimate community leader. He gave so much to the game and all of Red Sox Nation. Our deepest love and thoughts are with Stacy, Trevor, Brianna, and the Wakefield family. Just a terrible loss for the baseball community. And, you know, we didn't know what was going on. It happened really fast, and it sucks. Way too freaking young, in his 50s.
57, yeah. I don't know, Kratz, you want to go first on this one? Because this is hard for me.
Mine's short. I never knew Wake, but based on the stuff that I've heard about him and what's pouring in now, it's so hard to overshadow being a good person, overshadowing a 15, 19-year career. And it shows how good of a person he was, because he overshadowed a career that had World Series, that had essentially playing almost his entire career with one team. And I never knew the guy, but everything I've heard about him is unbelievable. And I feel for his wife, Stacy, and his 2 kids. A great man like that had to be an incredible husband and father. And I pray that they remember the great times of their father and their husband.
Yeah. I mean, the stats, you see the stats. The stats are the stats. Wake is he's not from Orlando, but he is from the area here. He's from the coast of Melbourne. And I never played with Wake. I played against Wake for a long time. And he was always unbelievable to me. I've gotten to know him much better since both of our playing days have ended. We play in a lot of golf tournaments together. We have done a ton of things. I got to know his wife. I got to know Brianna, his daughter. I don't know his son as well. Son is got some special needs. And he's on the right path, and it's great. So for this to happen, it's truly unbelievable. And the thing is Wake is kept things personal. And a lot of things were going on that a lot of people don't know about. And then things happened and it got out. It's just awful. And then for it to happen this quickly is just one of the worst things of all time. His wife is going through some stuff. I can't imagine what Brianna and Trevor, his kids, are going through right now. It's just awful. And, Wake, we'll miss you. I love you. We have mutual friends everywhere. I mean, throughout the world. He was always one of the best guys. We'd go to golf tournaments. When you got paired with Wake, it was a dream come true because he would laugh with you. He'd make fun of you if you hit a bad shot. He'd make fun of himself if he hit a bad shot. He'd complain about how his back hurt, and he'd go out and shoot 75. It was unbelievable. But, Wake, it was too fast. It happened really quick. And as much as we want to talk about your accomplishments on the field, the things off the field that you did for the Boston community, Melbourne area, and everything where you just were involved, it truly is special. He did a golf tournament, I think, for 20 years straight in Melbourne, just Tim Wakefield Foundation. I was lucky enough to play in it a few times. Then all the things he did in Boston, just an amazing human being and a better person than he was baseball player. And you'll never hear anybody say anything bad about him. Jason Varitek, if you haven't seen the video of him, check it out because that kind of sums up how everyone that knew Tim Wakefield feels. And I mean, I was crushed yesterday when I got the phone call. And I found out before most people. I actually got, I was asked to call some people and it was a horrible day yesterday. And, I'm sorry. I'll miss you, Wake. I love you. And, just prayers for Stacy and Brianna, Trevor, and your family. And, I know you're looking down, smiling, and we'll see you soon, brother.
Yeah. I'm so sorry for your loss. It's terrible. Awful. Feel like he was just playing too, like it feels like it wasn't that long ago that he was pitching.
There was nothing better than Wake. So we saw he got 200 wins. Okay. Mm-hmm. So every time I would see him, which I would run into him randomly at places too, because he lived close to here, right? So I'd see him at golf tournaments, or I'd see him at like the grocery store, just random places. Like, oh, Wake, always a big hug, always a smile. We'd always get a beer together. And so his 200th win, he was going for it in Chicago. And he was on 199. He had like a 2-run lead in like the 8th, and I hit a 3-run homer off of him, and he didn't get it. And as I'm running around the bases, he's screaming at me. He's like, "You son of a bitch. This is my last shot at it. I only got one more star. You wrecked it for me." Right? And so he ends up getting it.
Yeah.
But every time you see me, he's like, "I'm still hate you because you hit that home run off me." Like it was just, but that was just Wake. Like he loved it. And, when I would see him play against him, he'd talk trash. And he was throwing knuckleballs up there at 70 miles an hour, just floating and awesome. Took the ball every 5th day. Helped so many people, not only in baseball, outside of baseball. So, just an incredible human being.
Boston legend. And Jason Varitek, his good friend, said this over the weekend.
It's horrible. And it's horrible for his wife, Bree, Trevor, his family, his friends. He's a young man. He exemplifies what this uniform is. And it's not just the name on the back, it's the name on the front. It's what he's done in the community, the way he's represented it, where he's respected the game, which goes on to the whole league of being a precious part of what we do, is respect for the game and for your place. He's exemplifies what it means to be a Red Sox and what it means to be a professional. a wonderful dad, great husband. We've been through a lot.
So I actually did the game on Saturday. Sorry, are we back? Sorry. So I did the game. I did the Red Sox game on Saturday, and I saw Veritek, who I've known forever. He grew up here in Orlando, and I've known him for 30 years. And we actually had a long talk about Wake because I was like, I know they're super tight, and just then the next day, I mean, we literally talked about him for like 15 minutes. Just that was it. That was our conversation. Like, because he knew more about it than I did. And, he was like, this is whatever. He gave me the whole, gave me a lot of good stories and stuff. And now you see him, and he's not very emotional. Veritek is a very stoic, he's the captain of the Red Sox. And so to see him tore up, I mean, that kind of sums up the way the baseball world, and especially Red Sox Nation, should feel about Tim Wakefield. And man, it's awful. It's awful. And we can't devote enough time to this. So, like I said earlier, we'll miss you, Wake, and, prayers for your family.
We're working on getting some guests too this week to be able to talk about Wake. Every Red Sox player and coach wore full uniforms, no hoodies or pullovers in the dugout on Sunday to honor Wake. Quote, "It was a tribute to him because of all the guys I played with. Nobody wore his jersey with more pride than Tim Wakefield." What's your job or your title? Would you call yourself like a gamer, a creator, a streamer, right? When someone's like, "Hey, what do you do on the side?" What do you say?
Honestly, say all that stuff. I mean, I play games, I stream. Technically, Come To Us refers to me as an influence for them as well. So, I mean, all of the above, I guess, on that one.
Nice. There you go. And Kratz, you got to love the gamer chair, right?
I love the gamer chair. I love that you're rocking the DK Metcalf jersey, but I am really, really digging the collage in the background that your high school girlfriend made you.
Oh, no, that wasn't my high school girlfriend, but that was my mom and my sister for one of my birthdays. That was me back in the day playing baseball. So
love that. Todd still has one of those hanging up in his house of his high school days.
Listen, what first started you getting involved in the video gaming and all this kind of stuff? Was there something just like, what was the first game you ever played? You're like, this is what I love doing.
The first game I think I probably ever played back in the day was MLB The Show on the PS2. I think it was MLB 08 The Show. And I've been playing games my whole life. And then back in COVID in 2020, all my buddies went away to college. I had nothing else to do. And I wanted to start up a YouTube channel. I'd liked recording videos and stuff and making that all throughout my life. And I gave it a chance and stuck with it. And here we are today. I'm partnered with MLB 9 Innings, and then I have my own channel that's doing pretty well. So
that's awesome. Kratzy, think about your first video game. That was Sega Genesis 1994 Madden and Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball. You remember yours?
Come on. I'm old school. Super Mario Brothers. Nintendo, the original NES, kid.
That's awesome, dude. Good stuff.
Kratz invented video games.
And now, back to foul territory.
Back on FT Live on Stadium, Braun, Kratz, Pierzynski, and let's get to some breaking news over the last few days. So we'll start with the New York Mets because now they can officially announce David Stearns as the president of baseball operations, and we've known that for a while now. Some people have kind of known that for like 2 years, but there it is. He had his press conference today, and the one thing that stood out before we get to the manager side of things is that, of course, he was asked about Pete Alonso, and he essentially said that he's not getting traded and he's coming back, because some Mets fans gave Pete a pretty nice ovation on Sunday, knowing, the news that they've learned more about on our show, that the Brewers had discussions about him, but he said, quote, "The entire package weighs into it. Pete's a great player. He's also good in the clubhouse, homegrown, all that matters." Another quote, "I expect Pete to be in the opening day first baseman next year." Well, that's a pretty big vote of confidence that he's not going anywhere, because you just start your job, you make that announcement, and if they trade him in a month, fans are going to be like, "So we're not trusting."
He said right now, didn't he, at the end? Didn't he say right now at the end?
Why is that the key word there?
Yeah,
Where
it's
he's gonna
like
go
with
back
all
and
due
say,
respect.
I said right now.
Yeah, he said just second.
He could have just said though, like, hey, I just got here. I got to evaluate things. I mean, saying that to me means that he's already thought about it since he's known.
Dude, he's been thinking about this for a year.
Right. So Pete's staying.
Okay, good. Listen, they need stars in New York. He should stay. They have money.
He can't be his last move as a Brewer can't be to get rid of a all-star player from the Brewers, and his first move as a Met to get rid of another all-star player from the team they just joined. I don't see that happening. I think, how close they actually were to trading him to the Brewers before, who knows? But I don't see him. You can't get rid of Pete. Not as your first move as a GM, unless the directive from the owner is, I want to get rid of him. I want to see what you can get for him.
Yep. And what they did do already is tell Buck Showalter that he will not be back with the team. He won Manager of the Year, over 100 wins last year. And the Mets did get taken down in their first round wildcard round against the Padres. Remember, they blew the division last year. This year, it's just a mess. They were terrible. Buck Showalter spoke, and he was emotional, of course, about the whole situation. He clearly did not want this to be the end of his Mets tenure.
So, Billy and the organization, in fairness to me, gave me the option of, of stepping aside or either, I don't know what else. But anyway, I appreciate that. But, the new leadership, they're going to go in a different direction with the manager next year. So, things that are installed in you. I was honored to get a chance to manage a second New York team. I'm proud of what the Mets did. We won close to 180 games in 2 years, especially last year, as much fun as I've ever had in a game, and reminded me why I always love this kind of work. I wish things could have gone better this season because the Mets fans deserve that. In my heart, I always wonder what could have happened if this hadn't happened or that hadn't happened, but I try not to live in that world.
All right, so, Buck's pretty sad. What's the matter, Kratz?
He was reading that?
Yeah, he probably collected some thoughts because it was tough for him. He got emotional. Is that okay?
I didn't see him get emotional in any of the. I just feel like he's always somebody that's very much like he doesn't give the cookie cutter answer. So I was surprised that he was reading it. To be honest.
I don't think I understand, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think it was probably tough for him, tough situation. Yes, Buck's a great speaker. Buck's a broadcaster. He's going to be broadcasting hopefully with us next year.
So I saw Buck, I don't know, what did I tell you guys, about a month or so ago, 2 months ago, and I got the feeling he was done then. Because you can talk to managers and you get feelings from managers. And again, I'm not going to put words in Buck's mouth. I'm not going to, I can't tell how he's feeling or what he's doing. But just when you talk to guys, you're like, Buck, what about next year? And they give you answers and they give you quotes, and it was just a gut feeling. And I forget who I did the game with, maybe Adam Amin or maybe Jason Benetti, I'm not sure. And we walked out, we both kind of looked at each other and both said, man, that had the feeling of a guy that wasn't coming back next year. And now to see him not back, obviously, it's disappointing because he's one of the best, man. He was great to talk to. He knows the game inside and out. He's prepared. Where do the Mets go from here?
Well, it's David Stearns taking over. They want
Craig Counsell.
Steve Cohen said, this is you, dude. You've done this well. This is you. Go ahead. You get to pick your manager. And he also picks up this massive bag of cash, drops it on the desk and says, and here's $6 million a year to choose your manager, who could be Craig Counsell. How much do we think he's making right now with the Brew Crew? 2?
Maybe
guys,
2? Managers don't make as much as they used to.
I know. So I'm saying, is 2 over under, or am I accurate? Just guessing.
I would say you're pretty accurate. Maybe a tick high if I were guessing.
Okay, so here comes 6, which is no big deal for Uncle Steve to shell out and put the pressure on the damn Brewers with Matt Arnold, who was on this show, who told us if he's coming back as a manager, he will be with Milwaukee. Pressure's on. They're going to offer him 6. I'm telling you, they're going to offer him 6. Why are you shaking your head?
Paging Pat Murphy as the new manager of the Brewers. I mean, listen, as much as Craig Counsell is a Brewer, he's from Milwaukee, he's done the whole deal. Dude, someone offers you that much, you got to go.
5 years, 30.
You got to go. You just have to go. You got to. I'm sorry. I know Counsell's had a nice career and all that, but man, and plus you got more resources and the whole deal. So, I mean, good luck.
Yeah, but what if he doesn't want to? What if that's different? Like AJ.
I mean, no, I get it. Listen, I get it. It's like everyone's argument with Mike Trout is he doesn't want to leave Anaheim because he's comfortable. I get Counts as comfort. Maybe money doesn't mean that much, but I'm just saying, man, it's a tough spot to be if you're. I mean, it's a great spot if you're Craig Counsell, but David Stearns, man, in the Brewers fans are going to be pissed at David Stearns for leaving and then poaching their manager. I mean,
it's not poaching; he's a free agent. You could have locked him up.
Oh, that's also true, but maybe they had something behind scenes. Tampering, even though David Stearns wasn't supposedly around the Brewers for the last year. Tampering with managers.
He was still working for the Brewers. He was advising, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he couldn't. I don't think he could do a whole lot, right? I don't know. I don't know what his role was because remember there was a whole thing. The Mets wanted him last year, and the Brewers wouldn't let him go. But he wasn't involved. I don't think as much. Kratz might know more, but I don't think he was involved in the day to day as much. That's why Matt Arnold came.
No, he was just spying and then taking notes to bring over to New York.
He was tampering.
Tampering. Stop it. You want some salacious headlines.
No. All right, but that is going to be an awesome story. Craig Counsell's free agency. It is real. Right now it's official. Like they're looking for a manager and the search is on. We'll get to Gabe Kapler a little bit later on in that whole situation. We need more time for it, but we'll swing back with all of those farewells to the players out there. And Joey Votto got booted from his last game. And JP Crawford saves the day. They almost got screwed at the end, or really to themselves. Ninth inning, Chapman doesn't have it, bases loaded, then 2 quick outs, and you're like, are the Mariners about to blow their season right here? JP saves the day, and before we get your thoughts, I just thought, his finishing line to the world was just perfect for some Friday motivation.
It was, Scott, but I prefer...
Hold up.
Let's fucking go! Celebration taking over here. Emotions taking over here.
JP's like, hold up, Ken. I got something for you. And then actually on the Mariners broadcast, it went right to their post-game show, and they're like, we have to apologize. JP had a moment. I'm like, what, did you talk to JP? I don't think he cares at all. He just showed his emotions.
Well, you have the FCC, Scott. You know about that. They're not covering foul territory necessarily. But that was a great moment. And it was kind of an interesting game. Well, it was a very interesting game. But in the way it turned out also, you have the Rangers bullpen, which has been their season-long issue. You have the Mariners with runners in scoring position. They were 0 for 8 when Crawford came to bat. That has been their issue in September. They're about 210 with runners in scoring position in September, batting average. So it was like the movable object and the resistible force. There's JP getting doused. And he is a guy that Scott Service says is their MVP. And think about that. He's saying that knowing Julio Rodriguez is their superstar, but it's Crawford's leadership, it's his work ethic, all of the things that he brings that led Scott Service as their manager to say that. And his performance with the bases loaded this season, JP Crawford's, is incredible. He is 10 for 15 now with the bases loaded, 22 RBIs. Rodriguez said after the game, I knew he was going to do something. It's just what he does. And the Mariners, basically, if they had lost that game, they're 2 out with 3 to play. They're essentially done. Now things get a little bit interesting. They win tonight. Okay, they're still going. And the Astros have to play in Arizona, with Arizona needing to win one more game to get in. So it's not over yet for the Mariners, and maybe they have some more magic in store in this next couple of games here against Texas.
And now, back to foul territory.
All right, let's show poll results. So which player had the most memorable potential send-off? Because some of these guys might come back. And it's between Miggy. Well, Miggy has taken the lead now, but Crawford's pretty close. And then Votto's up there too. It's
Votto got ejected.
I know, but that's super memorable.
That's what I'm saying. It's amazing.
Yeah. Do you want to start there?
I mean, Votto getting ejected, and then his tweet after saying that he's sorry that he shouldn't have yelled at the umpire. The umpire's got to have a little bit of feel there, though, and be like, dude, come on.
That's it? A little bit of feel?
Yeah, he's got to have a little feel, whoever the damn umpire was.
A little bit.
Who is this umpire?
Shane Livensberger.
Shane Livensberger?
Kratz. He wasn't even on the field. He was barking a little from the dugout. Like, hey, Joey, I got it. This could be your last game. Let's all have a good time. Isn't that what you say instead of, shut up, you're hurting my feelings because I missed a call, you're out of here? Are you joking? How did they do that?
I mean, come on. I think Shane has a lot of feel. I feel like Shane
not enough, apparently.
Gave him enough of a leeway. Like, at what point, how long was it? I don't know how long it was from the time he got he struck out till he was yelling. He had to have been yelling at him for a long time. But for his last game, I don't think it's the most memorable, though. Miggy played literally out in the field this year. A single out at first base. And the ball was hit to him. And it was an unassisted, 3 unassisted out, put out. Like
with Torkelson's glove. Did you see that?
With Torkelson's first baseman's mitt.
Because he said he didn't have a glove. And then he signed it. He signed it. His kids came out and took him out.
It was awesome.
I mean, everything about it.
His was
just everything about. Yeah, but plus he was the one that was kind of announced. The other guys
for the whole year.
Waino was announced. Waino was awesome.
But Waino wasn't on the list though.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, I didn't think Waino was on the list.
On. You can vote for Waino on here too. He's on there, and
Waino's a pitcher, and he already said he was done. So I mean, that was.
He had the concert. He had the at bats. We're going to talk to Waino, so we'll give him more attention later. He's joining the show today.
But out of the 4 that we just showed on the screen, Crawford, Greinke, Votto, and Miguel. I mean, Miggy's is by far because it was set up perfectly. They did the thing in the outfield, and deservedly so. I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Fame guy, so he deserves everything he's going to get. And then Votto getting kicked out is perfect. Joey Votto, right? Greinke getting a win to not end 1-16 at 2-15, much better.
Oh, stop!
And then Crawford, Crawford getting taken out and the whole deal in the middle of the inning. I mean, listen, it was a special day for all of 5 of those guys, if they don't play again.
Yeah, the Miggy celebration was incredible.
Of course,
really
he deserves it.
They gave him a lot of time. Granted, like good stoppages.
I can't believe there wasn't like pitch clock violations.
Well, you get that cleared up. Well, and were the Cubs okay with it?
I don't know. Was Boog okay with it?
You got to call Boog back.
How many?
Because there was some serious stoppage going on in Detroit. Did you see the one time when he then hugged everybody that was on the field?
Every one of them.
Solid 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and that was mid-game. Now the game didn't mean shit, but I just thought it was awesome.
I thought it was great.
Let's do the tribute during the game because baseball is like the one sport where you can do that.
Yeah, when a guy hits a record milestone like Acuna, you can do a video montage.
Oh, there was so much trolling on that.
The Cubs didn't make it. It's Acuna's fault.
Yeah,
actually is his fault because the Braves.
Well, that because he drove in a bunch of runs and scored a bunch of runs.
Yeah, exactly.
But I know. Listen, Miggy's they were all great. I mean, Waino got to sing his songs and got in at bat. He had Yachty there and all that whole deal. But I'm a little mad at Waino about one thing.
Okay,
we're get into it when we talk to him.
We're gonna announce some news with Waino too. Okay, so last thing, and then we'll step aside and get to our playoff predictions. Are any of these dudes coming back? Obviously, Waino is not, and Miggy's not. Like Brandon Crawford, Zach Greinke, Joey Votto. Can you give me at least one out of those 3? That
Votto feels to me like he's the one that would be the one that would come back.
He's not done. Okay.
I think Crawford with the Giants isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And will he want to go to a new team? Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, I've seen interviews with him too, where he's kind of almost said it was over. I think they had him on Sunday Night Baseball against the Dodgers. And the way he was talking, it was like like I said about Buck. Sometimes guys give you hints when they know. And listen, Votto would be the one that hasn't really said it. But listen, to bring him back to the Reds would mean a lot. And then as far as Greinke, I mean, I think the Royals have pretty much told Zach he can come back as long as he wants. Kind of the Tim Wakefield. Wake had like a standing 1 year, $5 million contract with the Red Sox. Like come back as long as you want, Tim. And I think Greinke might have that. Now, the difference is, Tim was still performing.
You can talk shit. Zach talks shit with the best of them always.
I mean, I don't mean that rudely, but I mean, the Royals want to get better, and 2-15 with a 6 ERA isn't getting better. Right. So there's a time where, listen, it happens to everybody. Father Time catches up with everybody. Kratz, you know this. It's undefeated, man. There's just a time. The game will tell you when you're done, man. Like it. Like, and listen, maybe Zach wants to come back and try to prove that wasn't it, but. Do you want to go through spring training again? How much does he really like his kids? Does he really want to go and spend another 8 months on the road? I don't know. Think he lives in Hawaii now?
I think he's done. I think Zach's done. And he's not going to make a big deal of it because that's not him, right, Kratz? He's just going to be like, he'll have somebody announce like, quote, I'm done. Thanks, everyone. Something like that. Who knows with him? And you might never hear from him again, or he could be like running a front office. I don't know.
He doesn't have the personality to run the front office. He'll just disappear and never hear from him again.
Yes. All right. So when we come back, we are doing our predictions because it's Monday and there's no games. And I want everyone in the YouTube chat to send us your predictions too. Playoff brackets next.
Who partied like Shlomo after you guys celebrated?
So Marshy came in pretty banged up afterwards. I mean, we all celebrated as hard as we could. It's fun, man. Making playoffs is no joke. It's an incredible accomplishment. So when it does happen, yeah, that's a good video right there. You got to celebrate. You got to enjoy all the hard work you put in throughout the year and celebrate. I told some of my buddies, I mean, if you didn't play hangover games in the minor leagues, then you weren't doing it right. So I had plenty of minor league hangover games to prep for the other day, and it ended up all right for me.
Hey, how did it feel finally getting your first home run out of the way of the season there? I mean, listen, it had to be kind of a relief. I'm sure you're getting ragged on by a couple of players now.
Yeah, we mess around about it, and I'm not a home run guy to begin with, but everyone wants to hit a home or at least have a number there in the home run column. So for it to come the day after we celebrate like that, I said champagne and tequila is the only PED I need. So I was messing around with everybody about it. I mean, first off, have you ever seen somebody's batting helmet get launched into the stands like that?
Wow.
That was incredible. I think as soon as he launched it, and obviously we could joke about it a little bit at the time because these games right here, we're already in the playoffs. We already hold our spot, but it sucks, man. It sucks watching a guy's at bat get taken from him like that. He grinds out a walk right there, and obviously frustrated. None of us, I was going to give crap to Delay for even checking the swing from the dugout because I thought there was absolutely no way he went around. And of course, Angel's down there and bangs him on it. And you guys know, going through an at bat like that, you work your tail off to get to a 3-2 count and then spit on a pitch like that and get to first base. So for somebody to take it away from you, it sucks.
And now back to foul territory.
Back on FT Live on Stadium. And by the way, hour number 2, we'll talk to Al Avila about some of the managerial changes, about some offseason previewing, and about Miggy, and a lot to get to with him. And then Adam Wainwright, too, is going to join the show. Our first guest of the regular season and our last guest of the regular season. Your BetMGM locks for the regular season. There's no games today, so we finished Friday with Frazier winning. Kratz missed, and I missed so badly, which was awesome because I didn't have to watch that damn game. After 5 seconds, the Yankee game was over. Boom, I can watch real baseball. I lost. But anyway, that's how we finish our regular season. And to answer your question, yes, we will continue this in the playoffs. And your double or nothings did not work out.
Oh, well, we can keep going. One good thing about this is we can keep going with the double or nothings.
You've got 2,300 in the bank.
What did there's old Jake Peavy used to, the way he'd go play blackjack, he'd start with $50. And he'd play, and if he lost, he'd double it all the way until he finally won and got it back.
Okay. Sometimes that can work, and
sometimes it can work. Sometimes it doesn't. But
exactly.
If you got enough money, it always works.
True. So before we go over our brackets, the $1,500 first bet offer is still on with the bonus code FOUL. You download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android, or visit BetMGM.com. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your new account. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets, and that's if the bet loses. And if that does happen, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And now, with about 24 hours to go before the playoffs officially begin, let us present our playoff brackets as we play along with our friends at Out of the Park Baseball, who ran 1,000 simulations to come up with their own bracket. So we are going to compare and contrast. We will also get our predictions from the rest of the crew. We'll post that later on from some of our friends, guys like Kip and others. So here, I'll run through OOTP first. You guys can absorb it and then decide what you want to do. Twins, Blue Jays, they've got the Twins taking on the Astros. Rangers, Rays, they've got the Rays winnings. And then on the AL side, they have the Astros beating the Twins and the Rays beating the Orioles. I'll flip to National League side. D-backs, Brewers, they've got the Brewers taking on the Dodgers. Phillies, Marlins, they've got the Phillies taking on the Braves. So that's all chalk there in terms of seeding. And then in the DS, they have the Dodgers taking down the Brewers, the Braves taking down the Phillies. That's more chalk. They have the Astros taking down the Twins and the Rays taking down the Orioles, basically chalk. And then a Braves-Astros World Series with the Braves winning the World Series. Thoughts? And then you can jump into yours.
I mean, chalk in the National League. I mean, total chalk in the National League.
Not a lot of upset city.
No upsets in the National League. And then the American League, the Astros, fine. Someone that picked the Braves and the Astros to play in the World Series before the year. I kind of like that simulation.
True.
As the only person on this panel that got has a chance to have their World Series matchup come true, I feel good about myself.
You're a legend. They did pick Rays Orioles. That's not chalk.
Yeah, I know. That was the only
Orioles,
upset they really had.
Yeah.
I mean, the Orioles are really good. I watched them this weekend. They're really good.
They are really good.
Their pitching, I'll say this, their starting pitching is better than what you think.
Yeah, Bradish is insane.
Bradish is really good.
Grayson Rodriguez.
Grayson Rodriguez has been great.
Who's 3?
Dean Kramer, Gibson. Means is back, and he's throwing the crap out of the ball.
Yeah.
And
they can mix and match.
And they don't know. And listen, I talked to Brandon Hyde. They don't know what they're going to do.
After the first two?
Because, so Bradish is obviously one.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's in the Cy Young, top 3 Cy Young. Then depending on who they play, whether it's Rays or Rangers, they might throw Means game 2 because of Camden Yards, right? And have Grayson pitch on the road.
Okay.
Depending on where they are. Or they could have Grayson pitch game 2. Depends on the lineups they're facing. Because if you throw Means at Baltimore, it brings the left field the gigantic left field in. Because the Rays will stack them with all righties.
Yeah, Mount Baltimore is for John Means.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or as Wayne Randazzo said, it was as a joke, and people crushed him. Adam Jones' podcast partner, Coleman, whatever his name is like, I hope that A.J. Pierzynski was joking when he said they built Mount Baltimore because of Aaron Judge. I mean, Wayne Randazzo on Saturday said it as a joke. We were talking about the wall, but certain people have to take it too serious. But whatever.
Never heard of any of that. That's news to me. All right, do your picks.
Okay, so I'm going. I mean, since I went preseason, I got to go Astros Braves, and I had the Astros winning. So, I mean, I'm just running with it. I don't really think that's what's going to happen. But since I had a preseason, I'm sticking with it. I'm not changing.
So you're not saying it with your chest. What do you actually think is going to happen?
I think the Braves are going to win, but since I picked the Astros,
are going to make it.
No, I think it's still going to be I think it's still going to be
Like this.
I actually think it's going to be. I actually think it's going to be Orioles Braves. Braves are going to win. But since I picked Astros Braves, I'm taking Astros.
That's ridiculous. Okay, and that's it. You're not going to.
I'll do the whole thing. So I think the Twins get through for the first time since 2002. They win a playoff series.
Okay.
Then the Astros take them out, and then I think the Orioles win their. I think the Rays beat the Rangers, and then I think the Orioles take them out, and I think the Orioles win the AL, and I think the Braves walk through. Marlins. I think the Marlins are going to beat the Phillies. Just because Kratz is going to pick the Phillies to win the whole thing. And I think the Brewers beat the Diamondbacks. Braves, Dodgers, LCS, Braves win. Braves, Orioles, Braves win, but Astros win.
Okay, that's hedging yourself.
Super not convincing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have the Rays over the Rangers. I have the Jays over the Twins. The Jays are going to strike the world out in that series. The Phillies over the Marlins. Thank you, AJ, because I picked the Phillies to not make the World Series. The Brewers over the Diamondbacks. And then I have the O's over the Rays, the Astros over the Jays. Then I have the Brewers beating the Dodgers because they won or they got swept, but now since then they've been the hottest team in baseball, and they have learned how to get the Dodgers out. So it's going to be an unbelievable series. They're going to beat the Dodgers. Braves will beat the Phillies, but they will lose to the Brewers. And the Orioles will beat the Astros, and it'll be a Brewers-Orioles World Series.
Wow. Fox is crying right now. Fox is totally.
And that's why I love it.
Totally crying.
Wow.
Stick it to the man.
Oh, my gosh.
Brewers, Orioles, and who wins it?
Brewers.
Brewers World Series.
Okay, I thought you couldn't get any more homer with Phillies.
Thank you.
Orioles, you went even more homer pick.
Okay. Yes, thank you. I'm so glad that you didn't pick my right homer team. I have so many homer teams.
I got 1 minute. Can I do mine?
No.
Okay. I got the Jays beating the Twins. A lot of my first rounds like Kratz. Rays beating the Rangers. Phillies over the Marlins, Brewers over the Diamondbacks. So my one upset is seating-wise, Jays over Twins, although they'll probably be favored in that series anyway. They're also banged up, some of their stars. I just think the offense isn't going to show up enough. Phillies over the Braves in the DS, Brewers over the Dodgers, Phillies over the Brewers to make it to the World Series. The Astros over the Twins, the Rays over the Orioles. The Rays beat the Astros, and it's a Rays-Phillies rematch.
2008, 15-year reunion?
And the Phillies win again.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Considering
you picked the Padres preseason to win, I don't like the Phillies' chances.
Well, whatever. Who cares?
And Kratz picked the Yankees, so the Brewers are definitely out.
Baby. It's just, I don't know. You almost never see total chalk. So even though the Braves have been heavily favored, and I mean, I like teams rewarded for doing things and paying and like the Braves have done it the right way. So have the Phillies, though. Dombrowski's a G.
And
so that's going to be the series.
Middleton's.
Dude, that's going to be the series of the playoffs. And it's in the freaking second round. Phillies and Braves.
That's the series of the playoffs is the Astros and whoever they play. That's the series of the playoffs.
Why?
Because I'm doing that series, so that's the series of the playoffs. I better bring my passport though if it's the Blue Jays.
Exactly, and they might not let you in if you're not nice to their team. Out of the Park 24 is still available all over the place, and let's follow their picks as well with the 1,000 simulations that they just ran. They've been very accurate in the past. They've got receipts. They use the latest roster stats, ratings, the whole deal, and that's what they came up with. Braves over the Astros. Everyone in the YouTube chat, let us know your thoughts or how crazy we are. And in hour number 2 of FT Live on the Foul Territory YouTube channel, we will talk to Avila about Miggy's farewell. We'll get some playoff predictions from him and also go over the crazy offseason, including what he thinks going to happen to Mike Trout. And then your boy, Adam Wainwright, joining us in about 30 minutes from now. Maybe we'll get him to sing a song, a little a cappella.
Maybe.
That's his next career. It starts now.
It started Saturday.
Now. It started Saturday, exactly. And we'll have some news that we will force him to announce coming up in hour 2 of FT Live.
So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What's up? Hour 2, FT Live. Avila is going to join us in a few minutes. So something we didn't get to in hour number 1 that is highly necessary to cover today. Gabe Kapler, Farhan Zaidi's buddy, is not returning as the San Francisco Giants manager. Yeah, he gone. I'll read a couple tweets from Eno Saris, who does a great job in that area evaluating the team. So he said, evaluating managers is very difficult. Gabe Kapler hired really good coaches, and they got a lot out of their players. It didn't seem like this roster was much better than this. He was diligent in prep and good in the scrum, but the vibes still got bad, and that's on the manager too. All of the strategies Kapler and the Giants employed have been done successfully before. Maybe the difference is that they were done with younger, less established rosters before. Doing this stuff with veterans is another level of stress on connection between managers and players. And a quote from Farhan said, quote, "We played our worst baseball when it mattered the most." Was this fair? Was this right? Thoughts on the Giants? Because they were the most mid team out there.
Mine is just that listen, Gabe got more out of this roster than I think anybody could have gotten. Now, you guys can, because I know Gabe and I like Gabe, and I think Gabe is hilarious when you talk to him. But the one thing about Gabe is, he kind of where I was welcoming Philly a little bit, and because he does a lot. There's a lot to Gabe. I mean, listen, he's a great guy and he's one of a kind. But there's a lot to Gabe and what he does and what he brings every day.
But you know what he's bringing.
True, but there's also something to be said for the manager not being the show, right? Like taking the field in like a skin tight shirt, with his perfect beard and his sunglasses. And
that's not fair, though.
It's not. But listen,
superstars.
Kratz, back me up. They didn't do anything at the trade deadline either, which was a problem.
Yes.
Kratz, back me up here as a player, though. When your manager becomes too much of a thing, players talk and they say, "What the fuck, dude? Our manager needs to just let us play. He needs to get out of the way. He doesn't need to be in." It's a thing. Now, should it be? Probably not. But Kratz, I think he'll back me up. This is a thing.
Why should it not be? Like, the game is about the players. It's not about the manager. It's not about how fit and ripped he is. Skip Schumacher could do the exact same thing down in Miami. You never see all the same gimmicks. Now, this is why I think Gabe is going to have a tough time staying at one place for a long time, because just his vernacular and his aura about him to me looks exhausting over 162 days. It seems like, has anybody come out and said, "Oh man, I just love playing for this guy"? Because are you really playing for him, or are you just biding your time until he decides you're in or out of the game? Like, what kind of I've built up a rapport with him, like he's going to let me out there. Like, unless they don't have someone else to platoon at your position, you're never going to solidify your spot on his roster based on how the organization, I know it's not just him, but how they deploy their players. And to me, AJ's exactly right. AJ's exactly right in the sense that there is a aspect of it is all about look at me with Gabe. And that's why I feel like it didn't work in Philly. Yes, he had some of the most awful Septembers as a manager because he killed his teams. And you kind of saw that with the Giants here. I expected that to happen the year they won 100 and some games, but it didn't. And to me, it's not a sustainable way to approach a roster full of men. It just feels like you kind of have a roster full of robots that are out there, and I'm just going to deploy my robots in whatever way I feel like.
But he's not the only one that does that. His GM does that too.
True. But before we get to Al, did you guys see the pitching change he had with Brebbia? Where he's trying to point, and Brebbia's holding his arm down, and he's no. And then they almost got into and then knocks Brett. It was the weirdest pitching change.
But did you see that? I'm pretty sure it was a joke because I looked more into it and I asked some people. Brebbia, if you watch it, put the ball in his pocket, and he told Gabe to get the ball out of his pocket instead of handing it to him.
That's disrespectful, though.
I mean, that's kind of
they were saying Brebbia is super, super jokester. So that's the story that I got. That's the story that I got.
I thought it was funny, but still, to see a player do that to a manager, I don't care if it's a joke. You just don't see that. Most managers, remember the time Trevor Bauer threw the ball over the center when Tito came to get him? Guess where he got sent to?
Yeah.
He got
Remember Kapler got into it with someone, a year or two ago? Remember?
Yeah. Yeah. Fouled him down.
Yeah. So shit's gone down. I just think it's such a mid roster. So let's talk about this.
Of course. Let's ask Al if he would have fired Gabe.
Yeah. Al Avila, former Tigers general manager, joining us right now. A lot to get to with Al, including Miggy's awesome farewell. But Al, let's start there. I mean, there were some moves made this weekend. Gabe Kapler let go by the Giants. If you were running the Giants, is that what you would have done? Or would you have said, our roster's not really there yet?
Well, to be fair, I wasn't following the Giants all that close this year, but obviously after all the years that I have been in Major League Baseball, I can't say that Gabe was my kind of manager, no. So I'm assuming they made the right decision. The manager position is a very big position. It's I know that there's managers like Jim Leland will play it down because he's so humble that he doesn't see himself as a big reason of why the team would win. but the manager does have a big role to play. And so, yeah, I do believe that they make the right decision in making the managerial change for sure.
Why did you say that you don't feel like Gabe is one of like your type of managers? Because we kind of were discussing this as you were coming on.
I would say that I was overhearing everything that you guys were talking about, and that's kind of been him through his career. And so, we all have personalities, and you have to be able to know and get along with it. Like perfect example, the Mets. Just let Buck Showalter go. Buck Showalter is probably a Hall of Fame manager, one of the best managers that has managed the game. Why would they do that? Well, probably because the personality with David Stearns may not match with Buck Showalter, and so that's the general manager's prerogative. Plus, also, and again, maybe in San Francisco, there was issues maybe with player communication and the way that he managed them. To your point, what happened with the pitching change and the pitcher making a joke, putting the ball in his pocket. That just doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen. So that to me, that's a little disrespectful, and that's on the manager really at the end of the day.
Al, would you say you were? I mean, obviously you started a long time ago, so I'm assuming you're going to say you're more of an old school guy. You're not I know you believed in analytics and you did some analytical stuff, but Gabe was heavy analytics with Farhan. So if you were hiring a manager today, what are you looking for? Because Buck is an old school guy. He got let go, right? Gabe, new school. He got let go by a new school organization. So it just depend on the GM or the president of baseball ops, who you hire and how you can communicate?
And that's a good point, because it really doesn't have anything to do with, am I an analytical guy or I'm an old school guy? I'm an old school guy. I basically changed the entire Detroit Tiger organization and brought in analytics and brought in analysts more so than you could imagine. And even at player development, most of the people that we hired were guys with combination baseball analytics. And I'm an old school guy. I came to learn analytics late in my career. So, but that really doesn't have anything to do with this decision. This is more of a decision on how to handle players, how to handle people and relationships and communication and your style of play, your style of managing. That's more of this reasoning.
The situation with Counsell and Stearns. Obviously, Counsell's still in the playoffs. Stearns is now the new GM / head of president, whatever his exact role is. Have you ever seen a situation like this where a guy is currently successful as a manager on a team, and yet a team hires somebody that was his original boss, is thinking, or maybe we're just putting words in his mouth, but could be poaching that manager away?
Well, it certainly could be happening. Obviously, we don't really know the whole story and what's really going on behind closed doors. We don't know that, so we can't make any accusations. We can only assume. But I will say that if you're a general manager, you're going to want to work with somebody that you feel. And to his point, and I saw his interview, because I feel the same way, and I've always said it, the field manager, you have to work together with him as a team. And it's teamwork between the general manager and the field manager. And those personalities have to mesh, number one. You have to have I can't say you should be able to see eye to eye on every little issue, because really sometimes that's not healthy either. But you have to have mutual respect for each other. You have to have good communication. You have to be able to trust each other in that sense. So, for a general manager, it's very important to have somebody in that position that, that he can be comfortable with to some degree.
Who has the final say? You hire the guy you want. You guys are having these meetings right now. Today, Avila is talking to manager X. They're making their playoff roster. Who has the final say? Because you said there has to be a back and forth, but there has to be a leader in that meeting too.
Yeah, and every team is going to be different. There are teams that the front office, quote unquote, the general manager is going to have the final say. I know that for a fact, and it's there. and there's going to be a few, and probably less today than ever before, where the manager will have that final say. And growing up in this business, I've always taught that when you hire somebody, you hire them to make decisions and run it. All you can do is give them as many assets, or good ball players as you can, and as much good information as you can, and make your opinion strong. And then the person you put in charge to run that field operation, which is your field manager, he'll have the final say, because at the end of the day, it's going to be on him, as it should be. So for me, if I'm running it, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make my case. I'm going to give him all the information, and then we're going to come down to a good. Let me put it this way: if he's going to come and put in a lineup that I know for a fact that me and my front office, there's no way that we're going to accept it, then I would have to probably say, hey, that's not going to work. But at the end of the day, if you hire the right manager and you have the right people and you have the right conversations, I think you're going to have a good an agreement that everybody's going to be happy with. But at the end of the day, the manager is the one that's going to be on the field having to deal with all the situations that come up, and he should know the best.
Al, if you were David Stearns and you just get rid of Buck Showalter, and let's say Council stays in Milwaukee, who's on your short list of managers? Is it someone that we know? Because they have a kind of a veteran team with guys that are locked in. Or do you go, they already tried, the young guy, the up-and-comer, it didn't go so well. So what's their move if you're a Mets fan?
Well, there's a lot of good candidates. Okay, it's hard for me to tell you. Actually, I really wouldn't want to go out there and just give you a couple of names. But to his point, to say they're going to do a wide net search, which I've been through those, and it's a good idea because number one, there'll be guys out there that you don't know too much about that you get to know more about. So you get to know more about different organizations, different people. And when you talk to that many different guys and ask all these questions, you get a lot of information. So to a certain degree, that's part of the reasoning of making a wide search, because you're going to get a lot of information from a lot of different organizations and a lot of good-minded guys with good minds. So that in itself is a good process to go through, whether you mean to really go through it and find your candidate that way or not. So I just want to make that statement. But at the end of the day, there's enough guys out there, whether you want a veteran guy or you want a young guy that maybe he's not as well tested yet. But being in New York, you better find a guy that has the ability to face the media every single day, to face the scrutiny and criticism every single day, because that's part of the job. It's a big part of the job. So in that sense, you better get a guy that is very mature. He might not have the most experience maybe on a day-to-day on the field, but you better have a guy that not only can handle day-to-day baseball ops, but you better have a guy that can handle the day-to-day criticism, the media, and everything else that comes with it. That's the way I look at it. I have guys that I've interviewed that I didn't hire, but I thought that would be very good managers. And, the Angels have one in Phil Nevin. I love Phil. I think he's an excellent judge of character. I think he's an excellent judge of talent. And I think he's a good leader. Mark Kotze, another one. Now both guys have jobs. So I'm not lobbying for any of them, but I'm just giving you examples of good baseball guys that have been around the game, played a long time, and know the game, and know the players, and know how to lead men. So, that kind of personality is what I'm looking for.
So you're saying the White Sox shouldn't have hired Chris Getz without interviewing GMs? Okay, thank you, Al, for agreeing with the world. But now let's get on to more important matters, because listen, the White Sox could have interviewed everybody and found out the philosophies of all 29 other organizations. Said they didn't interview anybody, and they're in the same rut. But I digress. Now. The Padres. The Padres are probably the biggest disappointment in baseball this year. How much as a GM, if you're AJ Preller, do you put on Bob Melvin and say, listen, Bob, you didn't lead these guys. Yes, they finished over 500, but everyone was talking about them going to the World Series because of the way they finished beating the Dodgers last year. So as GM, do you go to your manager and say, hey, we got to be better?
Well, that would be hard let me just reverse it. It would be hard for a manager to go to his GM and say, hey, I want better players or more players, because they certainly had their pick of the litter there. But at the end of the day, you know, the manager may not have. I'm not going to pretend that I know what's going on with the Padres because I don't know. I'm on the outside, but just watching and reading, it gives you the impression that the manager's hands may be tied. And not be able to run it the way he wants to. And we just talked about that, as far as who has the final decision on certain situations, whether it be the roster, the lineup that day, or even pitching moves. So his hands might be tied to the point where he can't manage to the best of his ability because it might, the directions that are coming from the top. So, that's probably the situation, but I couldn't tell you 100%. Now, in saying that, it also seems like there's a disconnect between manager and general manager in that, again, the communication and the trust back and forth and that kind of thing. So, there's probably a lot of blame to go around.
All right, Al, are you trading Mike Trout if you are the GM of the Angels?
Well, you can't trade Mike Trout. Number one, he's got a no trade clause. He's already said he's not going anywhere. He has said that. He's come across saying he's going to be getting ready for spring training next year. You just took me. Oh, so there he is. So he just said he's going to get ready for spring training next year. He doesn't want to go anywhere, and so it would be impossible to trade a guy that doesn't want to be traded. Number one. Number two, if you did have the possibility of trading him, it would be very, very hard. And here's why. He's been injured just about every year. I mean, he's played half his games. He's still, I think he still has 7 years on his contract, obviously at a high dollar amount. So even if he would be willing to be traded and you would find a buyer, you're going to find a buyer that's going to want you to eat a lot of that contract. I would say at least 30%, just based on his injury history. You wouldn't want to pay him that full amount. So, if you're going to get anything in return, you're going to probably eat up a lot of that contract. So those are the caveats that would come with that. But I don't think there's any way they're going to trade him because he's come out saying, I don't want to be traded, and he's got no trade clause. So now in saying that, obviously there's certain incentives that players can get that maybe change their mind. But in this case, I think Trout's pretty well entrenched in Anaheim or out there.
But he said he wants to have that meeting. He said at the end of the season he wants to have this meeting. And he comes to you and says he wants out because I know he wants to win. And he comes to you and he says, listen, Al, I really want to win. I want out of here. I don't want to make this public, but if you don't get me out of here.
I get you. But the thing is, he's had those meetings every year for the last, 10 years. It's the same meeting. And he didn't even come out and said it himself. I've had these meetings every year, and he's the first one that tries to shoot down every little gossip that is out there. What I call, I guess, false information that he wants to be traded. He's been shooting that down for years, and this year is no different. And he keeps on saying, I never said that. I don't want to go anywhere. I've had these meetings for the last 10, 13 years. It's the same meeting I have every year. Now, in saying that, I am sure that what he is hoping is to convince Artie and who's ever in charge, Perry, obviously, that, hey, we're going to try to continue to win. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get healthy. I'm doing all I can. Rendon, he's going to be healthy. Obviously, he can contribute. He's going to want to influence ownership to do the best they can to put together the best team possible going into next year. That's what I think he's going to do, or part of his meeting.
So you want him to say it with his chest, be like, I want to get the fuck out of here. Basically, is what you're saying.
Well, the thing is,
because it might listen. I know that injuries.
What could happen in this conversation is that he might come in and they might tell him, hey, you know what? We're going to rip this apart. This is going to be a horrible team and for the duration of your contract, this is going to be a bad team. So your best bet is, if you want to win, to let us trade you. We'll send you to the best team possible, the best situation possible. You'll have control if you want to or you don't want to go, and see what he says. In that case, then you might have a chance. but I don't know that that's going to happen.
Okay, so let's go to somebody that you did trade for, that you found a way to trade for, Miguel Cabrera, when you were with the Tigers. From the Marlins to the Tigers, right? So, I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer. Can you tell any Miguel Cabrera stories that no one knows yet?
Well, I don't really think I should tell any stories. No, but
why? Its career's over. It's all good.
Baseball stories, Al. We're not talking, stories like in the clubhouse.
I thought you were looking for. I thought you were looking for some bad dirt there.
No.
Like, what's he like behind the scenes?
No.
Yeah, like what you got to deal with him like on a personal basis every single day. What was he like? What were some of the quirks? Like, did he do anything silly? I don't know. Give us the good stuff about Miggy that maybe we couldn't talk about.
What I can tell you about Miguel Cabrera, he's always been very helpful to me. Okay, obviously, when we traded for him with the Marlins, we knew him since he was 15 years old, and we knew the family, and we had a great relationship with the family. So even though after Dave and I left to Detroit, okay, and this situation came up, we had, you don't make this kind of trade unless you think you're going to sign a guy to a long-term contract. So two things had to happen. You had to have a pretty good feeling that you're going to be able to do it, all right, with the player, number one. And number two, that your owner is going to be on board to spend the money. So the first thing that happened was, calling the owner, and the owner's like, well, I told you to try to get him, and you did, so let's go get him, and now we'll make it work with the dollars. So that was the first thing. The second thing was, obviously, over the people that over the years, you have a good feeling that you're going to be able to sign them and keep them long term. And so, and that was a good part of it. Now, once he comes aboard, obviously, we had him for the best years of his career, and every day that he went out there was an amazing day, because what is he going to do today? So we were very blessed to be able to watch in the city of Detroit, to be able to watch him on a day-to-day basis. And we surrounded him with really good hitters, guys like Maglio Ordonez and Victor Martinez and Prince Fielder, and he enjoyed the best times of his life, I can tell you that. And once we got Jim Leland in there, it made it all even better. So now for me, when I took over as a general manager, obviously it was already the last few years of his career, and it was the toughest part of his career because he had suffered and played with a lot of injuries. At that point, he's a difficult guy to trade at that point, even though he was still probably tradable when I first took over. But then again, you have an owner that wants to keep a Hall of Famer in the organization, which I completely understand. Now, so one good thing I can tell you about Miguel is during those tough times, he was very helpful to me and very helpful to all the players that came through the system that we were throwing out there to see, who's going to be sticking around, who's not going to be sticking around. And he was always very gracious to the young players, especially the Latin players. Paid for a lot of, the new guys that came in, paid for a lot of their clothing, their food. He was very generous with all of them. And so I would say he in a tough situation with a rebuilding organization, he actually, did everything the right way. So that one thing I can tell you, I'm very grateful to him, and he's a true pro. And the respect that he gave me and really everybody in the organization, and including those players that came through, and some of them that, quite frankly, didn't pan out. He was very respectful to all of them and very helpful.
That's
not a lot. That's the guy that's true.
Yeah. Who's gonna have a better career at the end? Miggy or Mike Trout? Because they're very similar through their age 31 season.
Well, I got to say, Miggy hasn't missed that much time like Trout has. Trout is the better athlete. That conversation always came about all the way through the years. Miggy's best years. Who's better, Miggy or Trout? Miggy or Trout? And then they were talking about WAR. And of course, everybody figured in Trout's his defense, which was obviously outstanding. Miggy could have probably been a much better defender, because he had great hands, a cannon for an arm. He had, he had smooth footwork and all that. But obviously, because of his injuries, it didn't allow him to probably stay best shape. You have different types of workouts, so you put on a little bit more weight. So that caused them obviously to move from third base to first base, from first base into DH. But Mickey played throughout year in and year out with injuries that I know that were very painful. I saw the black and blues, and some of them were really deep, where you're wondering how's he doing it, And so he played through injuries and just staying on the field, and helping the team win. That's why I give the edge to Miggy. The Trout is obviously the better athlete all the way around. When you're looking at obviously the position that he played and all that, but when you're looking at a day-to-day, on the field and playing through those injuries, I've got to say Miguel Cabrera is one of the toughest players I've ever come across.
All right, so Al, I have to ask this, and they're going to be like, "What are you talking about?" But you'll get this. Being from Miami, and then you went to St. Thomas University, and you played for Paul Mainieri, who I know very well. Who had the better career? Paul Mainieri, Air Force, Notre Dame, won a national championship at LSU, or you, St. Thomas, Marlins, Tigers, GM?
Well, I got to say, they're two completely different careers. Because,
would you switch, though? Would you switch with them?
Apples and oranges. I will say, though, I give it to Paul Mainieri because he did win a national championship, went to the World Series twice. You can't beat that. And on the big stage, he managed LSU. Let me tell you, you can't get any bigger than that. That's. I mean, if you're not managing the World Series at Major League Baseball, that's the next best place to be, and he did it. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have had my career probably if it wasn't for Paul Mainieri. He ended up hiring me at St. Thomas, and now I did work for free, and he'll tell you that for a long time. Guys today won't work for free, and but I learned there. I learned a lot there. Him and Doc Mainieri, his dad, were tremendous people. And it comes all from his father Doc. He just again love to help guys out and girls reach their potential and their dreams. That's what these guys did, and he learned that from Doc, his dad. And so I got to say that if it wasn't for Paul, I probably wouldn't even have a career in Major League Baseball.
So if he wouldn't have left for Air Force, because he recruited me at Air Force, that's how long I've known Paul Mainieri. Would he have tried to recruit me at St. Thomas, and I could have played for Paul Mainieri and Al Avila?
That's right. You sure could have.
Wow, the world really missed out on AJ Pierzynski at St. Thomas. Hey, Al, great to catch
You got
up
to be
with
pretty
you.
smart to get into Air Force.
He was all over me. Trust me. He tried hard. I give him credit. If he would have been anywhere but Air Force, I would have gone and played for him. He's awesome.
Did you have the grades for Air Force?
Come on, bro.
What?
That's
I don't know what your grades
What
are.
did Bryce Herbert say? That's a clown question.
I want to
Hey, it's funny because when I took over St. Thomas, we ended up playing the University of Miami quite a bit every year, and Ron Frazier was obviously the head coach of the University of Miami, who was also a good friend of Wayne Huizinga's, and I was good friends of Ron Frazier. Obviously, if you guys remember back in the day, Lasorda was a good friend of Ron Frazier, so I got to hang out quite a bit. Lasorda used to come down before spring training and come through Miami and did fundraisers for me and for Ron. And so we got to know each other really well. Ron was one of the guys that actually recommended me to Wayne Huizinga, and then, of course, eventually Dave Dombrowski to be hired with the Marlins back in those days.
Wow. Small circle, man.
That's
Small world.
It's a small baseball world.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad we got that in there, Al. Thank you.
Yeah. AJ's going to be bragging about it all day. Could have gone to Air Force, St. Thomas, wherever I want, but I was a big leaguer. Al,
Hey,
you could have
made. Hey, you could have. I'll tell you what. You could have gone to almost any college. You could have set your mind to. So
I can't wait to see these Hall of
Could have
Fame
gone to
grades
St.
that
Thomas.
AJ has for me.
1B. I'm just saying 1B, and I got screwed.
1B. What happened?
Hey, Mike
I'm sure we'll
Piazza
roast the
almost went to
teacher at
St.
some point.
Thomas.
Mike Piazza turned out better than I did, so.
That's another conversation.
Yeah, that we'll have a different conversation. Thanks, Al.
Good to see you, Al. Enjoy the playoffs. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers. Al Avila on a number of topics there, including the manager carousel. Remember when I had Ken on, Thursday or Friday, and said over under 1.5 manager changes? We have already hit that. And I actually did mean, and I kind of switched it just because I felt like Ken was almost talking me out of it. I did mean like over the next, what did I say, week? And he was like, I don't know about the next week, but over, the off season. Forget that. We're going to have probably one or two more.
The over hit.
The over definitely hit.
Who else could possibly be gone? Melvin.
We already came up with two right there.
You think
There's
Melvin's
probably
gone?
one or two more?
I don't know. That's the one that's so.
They're going to review things.
And then Nevin too. The thing about Nevin is Nevin's contract's up. Council maybe. There's another one.
Right, Council could be gone. There's still some action here.
All right, over under 3.5.
So under 3.5. There's not 3.5 guys out there.
You're saying 3.5, including the two just now?
Total.
3.5 more.
3.5 more.
No. Total.
Oh, including the two. Will there be two more?
Well, there's 3
manager changes. Oh, you're talking about Tito?
There's 3 already.
Oh, Tito didn't count. Tito
doesn't count.
So you need 2 more to hit over. I think
2 more. I'm hitting it. 2 more.
Yeah, I think
2 more. 2 more.
Sadly, there's always a surprise too.
Apparently, Peter Seidler, owner of the pod, said today they're not making leadership changes.
All right, I'm taking the under.
I'm still taking the under. Council and one more will change spots.
I feel bad for Phil Nevin. That's the one.
I do too, but that's you also know what you're signing up for. When you go to the Angels, you know they're going to be cheap as hell. If you read that Sam Blum article, it was fucking awesome.
That was a good article.
That was a really good article. And you know that you are going to take the hit for the helicopter owner. That's how it works. He's going to act people nonstop. That's what he does. He makes rash decisions based on business only. It's terrible. But that's
but if you're like, I got to push, especially as a first-time manager, if you're like, I got to push all my chips in, who am I pushing all my chips in to be the manager of right now? Last year, starting 2023, beginning of the season, the Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, and Shohei Ohtani team, or the Mets right now?
Wait, for this past season or next season?
Like just thinking about like if Phil, you said he's going into a tough situation. You don't see that. Like as a manager, you're like, I can help this. I'd love to have the 2 best players in the world on my team. Mix in Anthony Rendon.
This isn't the NBA. Like it's not, hey, let's get 2 or 3 superstars and we're a championship contender. Clearly.
But you're just filling in. That's what you do as a manager. You're not necessarily raising the level of play for your superstars. Your superstars are going to play. You just stay out of their way. You make sure you cater to them. You make sure they don't hurt team morale, which I don't think those guys do. But then you raise the level of bench players.
Yeah, but Kratz, the team wasn't good enough. It hasn't been good enough, and it's an organizational issue. I mean, they don't spend international. They don't spend correctly on development, right? They treat their minor leaguers like shit, probably more than any other team. Go down the line. These are reasons why you don't win, and it's funny because the team that lives closest to them does it the opposite way, and it just couldn't stand out more. And the funny thing is, it doesn't cost much to make those changes. That's what's funny too. Like, for all the money that you'll pay one superstar to try and sell more tickets, like the pitching labs and hitting labs that most teams have now, right? The not allowing minor leaguers to all shack up in one damn bedroom and, eat fast food every day. Like all of these things that they do, and read the article because it's freaking true. And it's what's been going on for 10 years. You played in the org for a second. They've got a rep, dude. And you could spend a few $1,000,000 and change all of that. And when you won't, you're a fucking loser. How about
all the pitching labs and everything? Like if you saw Boston's, I saw them as they were making it when I was working for the Red Sox. It's unbelievable. And the Angels still have a workout tent outside of their spring training complex. A tent that's put up in spring training where they have all their weights and everything, and dudes are in there working out. Like it's plenty fine. Like it's nothing, nobody's getting injured. You can get all your work in, but they still have a workout tent, and people have these biomechanical labs that have force plates from your hitter and your pitcher with like 120 cameras in a batting cage. Like it is quite funny. That's all I thought of when I was reading that article last night.
One more. So they're quote building a new minor or a spring training home. Haven't had any updates on anything on. I don't even know if they've broken ground. It's been talked about for a while. So Their spring training home is in the minor league home. They have a minor league spring training facility for their major leaguers. No. And the minor league spring training facility is in Bumblefuck in some old Giants facility that they like basically torched. And they're not in the same place, which is uncommon. Like the amount of dysfunction there, you could write a book, and I'm sure there are books out there.
There are books. I got one right here, the Shohei book by Jeff Fletcher.
Oh my gosh. One more thing I want to do, and Adam Wainwright's going to join us soon. Actually, let's also do this.
But here's before we do the Shady Rays, so we were talking about managers. Bob Melvin, right? What? Does Preller gets a pass? Because he made the trades. Bob Melvin, isn't he tight with, is he Farhan? And guess what job just
there's a connection there from their A's days. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And
yes.
Didn't
Farhan?
Job?
Yes. Farhan with the A's, Bob Melvin was there. So I don't know if they're tight.
I don't know if they're tight or not, but I knew they worked together somewhere. And then the question is, Farhan just fired his manager.
Right.
I don't know what Bob Melvin's contract. I mean, listen, this is all gigantic speculation, but I'm just saying, would Melvin think about moving to the Giants? He's been in the Bay Area, had success with the A's.
Yeah, I think he definitely would.
Okay. I mean, again, total, I don't know his contract situation.
Sure.
I don't know what, if he's, maybe he loves it there. I don't know.
Also,
but this is just because past relationships matter, much like Stearns and Counsell matters.
That's been talked about, just so you know. Like people have floated that out there.
Okay, I'm just
whether it's rumors or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know.
No, I didn't know Farhan was with the Athletics. I thought he was a Dodger.
No, A's first.
A's first, and then Dodgers.
Yes,
because Farhan was he was big with the whole Max Muncy thing with the Dodgers. So is that the connection that he had when Muncy was with the A's?
He was with the A's. He was with the A's.
A's, then Dodgers, then Giants.
2013, he was director of baseball ops, assistant GM 2014, sorry. And then 2014, he went to the Dodgers. So, yes, he had to have been there.
Okay, I have my friend on the line. He had a pretty big weekend. Adam Wainwright is on FT Live, our first ever guest on the show, which has done some work since then, and now our last technical guest of the regular season. Waino, what a freaking weekend, man. Congratulations. How you doing, dude? Have you taken a second to think back and look at some videos of what just went down the last few days?
I've watched a few things, but honestly, I was so overwhelmed with the whole weekend, and I just would have never thought that was, that I was worthy of any of that. So it was very special. I'll never forget it. I told my wife, I said, out of respect to this family and to you and to future years and my blossoming ego, I'm not even going to look at myself in the mirror for the next 2 weeks so I can, get over this and get over myself. I mean, it was just amazing. The people were amazing. The crowd was amazing. The organization went out of their way to make that an unbelievably special time for me. And it was amazing. I mean, I can't keep saying it anymore. It was just incredible.
Well, now that you're done patting yourself on the back and your shoulder's sore, that's why you can't pitch anymore. I got a beef with you. As the holder of your lowest career ERA as a catcher, I didn't even fucking get invited to this celebration. So, I mean, it's amazing how people change. They win 200, and all of a sudden they forget about the little people.
Oh no, I was going to talk all about that on our broadcast coming up.
Wait! That's our big announcement. Whoa! Before you get into it, we're going to announce because we were told. Okay, so officially now we're allowed to say it now. Officially, you are joining me for the ALDS, the Houston series with Adam Amin and I. This will be our third time working together, so it is official. You finally signed the contract in blood with Fox, so congratulations. Welcome to the broadcasting world, and congratulations to get to work with me again.
I mean, that's really all I wanted as a retirement gift was to spend more time with you, AJ. That was what I wanted. I'm looking forward to it, though. I have fun watching baseball games, and I felt like you and I were a good team a couple years ago, so we need to run that back.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be great. I mean, I've worked with you. Like I said, this will be our third time we've done it together, and enjoy talking ball with you. You love to talk baseball, and plus we can talk pitching. I can talk hitting, pitching, sequencing, how you attack hitters, and Waino came in the first year and he fit right in.
It's an exceptional broadcast. I mean that. And I'm super critical. I can't usually call out names because I feel like that's pushing it, but it is an exceptional broadcast. You know, we watch games all freaking year. I know obviously you've been playing, so it's not like you're watching all the other teams and everything. It is really freaking good, Kratz. No?
I could not agree more. As much as pitchers are weird, Waino, you do an incredible job on there. And I think you're actually taking AJ's spot. So I think AJ's he's looking into some college football.
Oh, now talk about it. Yeah, I'm in on college football.
Yeah, right.
Waino, you're lucky though. I got to say this about having him in the booth. If he's lucky he got 200 because Adam and I already had our whole shtick about Mr. 199. Like he would have been like Mr. 3000, the movie. It would have been Mr. One when we introduced him the first day. Hey, we have Mr. 199 with us here. So I mean, if thank God you pitched through your back and your hip and your elbow and your knee, and you brought your walker out to the mound to get 200. So I'm super happy you made it.
I appreciate it. You can feel free to call me Mr. 200 though if you want to. That sounds great.
Yes.
How was that day, by the way? I heard you were things were barking a little bit before the start, no?
Yeah, that's probably a top 3 toughest, maybe probably top 3, because I had 2 times to the backside of my elbow that was the most painful thing that I've ever pitched through. But this was number 3 for sure, and like a pretty close third. I'm about 99% sure that I blew my labrum out against Baltimore the start before. I think I tweaked it, and I think I probably pitched most of the year with a partial tear, but I'm pretty sure that I hurt it bad in the Baltimore game the time before, and I honestly, I would not have been able to pitch again after that game. So, man, you think you're glad that I won 200 games? I'm super glad because I wouldn't have had another shot at it. And I'm not a quitter. I don't quit real easy. And I was going to pitch that season out. I had 2 more starts, and I wanted to respect our team and contract I got. And I wasn't going to just sail off into the sunset after I won that game. I mean, I was still trying to help our team win games. I just wasn't able to. I couldn't barely throw a ball to the catcher 50 feet away, much less 60 feet away, and it was on an absolute rainbow, and there's a difference in pitching hurt and pitching when you're disabled, and I got to a point where I was disabled. Luckily, we won those last 2, man. I won the last game I could have. That was a tremendous blessing.
That's incredible that you pitched through that you played through that. What is the one thing that you are going to miss the least about playing in the big leagues?
What I'm going to miss the least is, all right, it's 11:45 at night. I'm in the bed watching a show with my wife. I'm real comfy, and I go, I got to get up and get this protein shake in me. Or it's 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning, and we got a day game, and I'm 40 years old, 42 now, but for the last couple of years, those third sets on workouts, man, it's like, when you're younger, this, Kratz, when you're younger, you're like, dude, I want 5 sets. Give me more reps. Give me more weight. I want to do, like, he's doing 3, I want to do 4. He's doing 6 sprints, I'm doing 7. Like, when you get a little bit older, I still love to compete. I love getting between the lines. I love preparing. I love breaking down hitters. But that extra set, those workouts, the I got to do this run, I got to do this, I got to eat this way. That all I lost the will to do that a little bit, and it's that's what happens. Everybody who's retired that I know says that's kind of what happens down the stretch.
That's how it ends. That's how Like, I mean, listen, you had an unbelievable career, right? So, for me, that was it wasn't the game. It wasn't playing the game. It was, can I get prepared for the game the way I've gotten prepared for the last, 15 years? And that changes. Yep. And then you're like, man, I got a family at home. I got all these things happening. My kids have games. My kids are doing, that, blah, blah. I'm hearing about this at home, and I'm out here in San Francisco playing a meaningless game because we're 20 games out of 500. Like, how do I get prepared for this game? So I agree. Was there one thing, though, that you made sure you did in every city, kind of like smell the roses and be like, okay, I know I'm done. Is there anything you did special that you changed this year from years past?
Well, starting in 2021, because that was the year that I thought was going to be my last year. for like the third straight time. I started doing old man walks, in each stadium that I went to, just to kind of take in the scenery and walk around and, learn the things you didn't learn. But also I thought, every city I go to, I'm going to play the best golf course they have that I can get on. I'm going to eat the best restaurants I can get it into. I'm just going to like not take anything for granted, and I've done that the last 3 seasons now, 21, 22, 23, played some incredible golf, eating some incredible food, taking in the sights with my old man walks the day after I pitch. And that's kind of what I was doing. I mean, I just feel like, this life we live is just such an incredible gift in Major League Baseball. I mean, life in general, but especially being a Major League Baseball player. I mean, y'all are probably the same way as me. I didn't want to do anything else in my whole life since I was 3 years old is play professional baseball. That's all I ever wanted to do. So to be able to do that for as long as I have, I felt like, all right, I don't want to take any of this for granted. If this is my last day ever pitching, I want to make sure I get out there and enjoy this and really take in what I'm doing and take in this incredible stadium. Wow, look at that, man. Look at that seat way up there, the very top right. I'm going to go up there and see what that's like sitting in it. Those kinds of things I really love that part of it.
Okay, so which one was the best? What was the best restaurant, the best golf course you played?
There's a steakhouse in San Francisco called Alexander's Steakhouse. It's probably one of my all-time favorites. It's got that Japanese A5 Wagyu.
Oh God, are you going to order that again? Can I tell that story? Okay, so 2 years ago, we're in Houston, and
we know AJ didn't pay.
Well, no, no chance. And Waino weighed way more than me. He deserves to pay. He owes it as friendship dues. But we go to the steak restaurant. They have A5 Wagyu on the menu, and I think Jenny was there too, his wife. And we're sitting there, and he's like whispering to her, and then we're like, Waino, is everything okay? And he's like, I just really want to order the A5 Wagyu. Is that okay? And we're like, dude, of course it's okay. Like, order whatever you want. It's like pre-series thing. And he's like, are you guys sure? It's like a lot of money. And our producer, Aaron Stoikov, looks at him and goes, dude, we'll expense it. Order whatever you want. He's like, oh, 2. Jenny will have 1. I'm going to have the best bottle of wine. And then like 6 people ended up ordering it, all because Waino wanted it.
Yeah. So the first time I went, so there used to be this incredible app called Ness, Ness, and it got bought out by Open Table, so it's not a thing anymore. But I used Ness every city I went to. It was kind of like so you go to the city, you go to a restaurant, you rate it, you give it like the specifics of I liked this, I didn't like this, whatever. And so then it does that a few times. You do that a few times, and then it learns like what you like, what you don't like, that kind of thing. So go into a new city, you go on Ness, and it say based off your personal preferences, you're gonna love this restaurant. So Alexander's was 98%. You're gonna love this place. So I'm like, well, dadgum, never heard of it, but we got to go to this spot. So go there and with I think I was with Trevor Rosenthal and Matt Holliday and Matt Carpenter, I think. And we go in there and we're ordering steaks or whatever, and the guy goes, and we also have this Japanese beef that's it's a little more pricey. But it looks cool, and it's like the best steak in the world. And I said, well, can I see it? And I looked at it and said, man, that's well marbled. That looks amazing. What's that thing running? He goes, oh, it's $110 for 3 ounces. And I went, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard in my entire life. I'm going to take 3 ounces of it just to prove how dumb that is. And the guy brings out the steak, and I take one bite of it, and I look up at Matt Holliday, and I went, dude. And he's like, what? Is it great? I'm like, you got to have a bite of this. He has a bite, and he looks at Trevor Rosenthal like just these blank stares, and we all ended up getting 9 ounces of it. Just spent so much money on this one dinner. But as y'all know, the one thing, maybe the most thing I'm going to miss about the big leagues is those big league dinners, man. When you get into a city, go to an unbelievable place, you pour some of that meal money out on the table, whatever. Everybody plays a credit card game or whatever it is. The last few years, I'm stuck with the bill every single time. So looking forward to that again, AJ. But it's been, those big league dinners are special. So that's one of my favorites for sure. I got kind of one in every city. If I go to Philly, I'm going to Morimoto. If I go to Atlanta, I'm going to House Steakhouse. If I go to Milwaukee, I'm going to Carnivore. If I go to LA, I'm going to Catch. So that's I'm a foodie, man. I love that stuff.
Okay, so golf. You didn't answer the golf course.
Oh yeah. So cities wise, Milwaukee, incredible sleeper town for golf. Pittsburgh, incredible sleeper town for golf. Atlanta, unbelievable town for golf. Obviously, LA and San Francisco. I think probably if I had to pick, oh man, I don't know, because Peachtree in Atlanta might be one of my all-time favorite courses. I just absolutely love Peachtree, but there's like 6 or 7 other gyms in Atlanta. Milwaukee, though, for just a sleeper town, right? Because Pittsburgh, you got Oakmont, you got Fox Chapel, you got Pittsburgh Field Club, amazing. But Milwaukee, this last week we played Erin Hills. The time before we played Whistling Straits. Time before that we played Milwaukee Country Club. Time before that we played Blue Mound. These are all amazing, amazing golf spots. Milwaukee is a sneaky golf destination.
Philly, Pine Valley, like Jersey's got.
Yeah, but everybody. That's why I was going sleeper, because everybody knows
okay.
Pine Valley, Marion. Unbelievable, like top. So that's why I went with Milwaukee, because everybody knows the New York is the one that I'm looking for on the bucket list. I got to get out to the Hamptons. I want to go to Shinnecock and National and Friars Head and some of those other ones.
What is Jenny missing the most about the big leagues?
Oh man, she loves St. Louis. She loves St. Louis because we're from a little town in Georgia, and there's not a Whole Foods. There's a Target, but it's like 30 minutes away. So like right now we live 1 mile from Target, 1 mile from Whole Foods. And so for a mom of 5 that needs, I got kids from 4 years old to 17 years old. So from whatever they need, whether diapers or school stuff, man, that the Target and the Whole Foods for food, just right there, that's a big deal for her. But she loves being, not everyone knows her here in St. Louis. She can comfortably go to the store without feeling like she's got to get all done up because she knows everybody. We go to the store at hometown Georgia, you're going to add 15, 20 minutes onto it because it's like, hey, how's your mom? How's your dad? How's your grandkids? Like everybody we know when we go everywhere.
What about the singing career? So how cool was that this weekend? And is there anything that we should look forward to? Like, are you going to open up for someone on tour? And like, what do you want out of that portion of your life? Now, I know you'll probably take a second, but at some point, like, what's the dream on the music side?
Man, good question. I'm not entirely sure what the overall end of that is going to be or where that's headed. But I do know that I have so much fun playing. And the other day to play, and by the way, just let me tell you about that guitar you see right there. Goldie gave me that the day before. That's a custom Garth Brooks guitar that Garth sent him for a gift from me, a retirement gift. So I played it. That was just incredible night to be able to sing my own stuff in front of a sold out Busch Stadium crowd. I thought I was going to be unbelievably nervous, but it turns out I was comfortable right there at Busch Stadium. I mean, this is my home, So, but I do love to play and sing. I love to write even more than all that. I've got an album coming out, and I've got some people interested in wanting to, make this thing real big. So I just got to make sure I'm, first and foremost, good husband, good dad. I've been gone for a long time. I'm not hopping back on a tour bus to go on, 80 stop tour. But we'll see, man. I don't want to put a limit on it or put an expectation on it because I have no expectation. I just know I'm having fun. I'm working with incredible people and we're doing pretty good stuff.
Waino, I mean, just like, your broadcasting career, you skipped all the small things. You're not working at a honky tonk, right? You go right to the playoffs. Look at me, I'm playoff announcer. You don't have to do the regular season. Now you don't do the little small dive bars. You do 30,000 people at Busch Stadium, right? I mean, it's amazing. Like, think about your life and what you've been able to accomplish. And obviously it's all deserved because you're an awesome dude. But Now you have a dog, right? You got yourself a dog.
Yeah.
They gave you a dog, and now you're playing in front of 40,000 people at Busch Stadium doing playoff broadcasts. What else can a guy ask for?
Nothing, man. Nothing. I am supremely blessed, and AJ, I'm gonna send you a picture. I don't know if you can put it up there on the thing or what, but this is how it's going with the dog right now. I walked in this morning, and my little girl Sadie, she's 7. She was on the floor, sleeping nose to nose with this thing. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you right now.
Nothing's better than cute dog pictures.
Yeah, this just as good as it gets. It's just as good as it gets. And I walk in, and I've been plugging to get a dog. I sent it to you, AJ. I've been plugging to get a dog for, golly, over a decade now. I just feel like the kids. It seems like just not fair that I have a 17-year-old daughter and she was, didn't have a dog all growing up. But when you have a bunch of kids and you're on the move all the time, it's just tough, man. It's just tough on Jenny especially. But we always said when I retire we're going to get one, and that was this huge surprise though, because Jenny's had that in the works with some of our Cardinals employees for months, and didn't want to tell anybody, or couldn't tell anybody because she wanted to be a surprise. And she's been all anxious that somebody was going to blow it. And it was just, it just doesn't get better than that. That was awesome.
You've been the centerpiece. You've been the centerpiece of your entire family. Like you move back to the season, they move with you. They follow. Hey, are we watching Dad's game tonight? How are you going to turn it on your family after this so that you're not the centerpiece and they get? You have a year left with your oldest daughter now, and then she goes to college. Not to make you cry, but
yeah, thanks for reminding me. Well, what was really cool? Last night, we get home after the game, and there's, 50, 60 people here at the house. We got my restaurant here in St. Louis, Grace Meat and 3, catered it and just knocked it out of the park. But all of Jenny's really close friends, most of them anyways, really close friends, all made shirts that said, we're celebrating Jenny Wainwright's retirement. And and everybody in the house put those shirts on, because it's really true. That everything about me this whole weekend was about me, and the sacrifices, as y'all know, the sacrifices for the wife at home that's carrying the load. We've got homeschooling going on over here. We got, brand new dog over here right now. But it's always like when you have 5 kids, different ages like we do, they're always in some other part and got to be over here and got to be at horseback riding and got to be at soccer, got to be at volleyball, got to be at singing lessons, got to be at guitar, got to be at piano, got to be all these places. And she's the one doing it because I'm in, San Francisco or wherever it is. So I think her friends did a great job last night of pointing out that, it's happy retirement for her too, for all the incredible sacrifice and great job that she did.
Hey, we've got that pic turned around already. Let's show it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That is amazing.
That is so
Isn't that
great.
awesome?
That is so cute. Oh, I love
it. It just doesn't get better than that. That's just as good as it gets. She's holding his little paw and stuff. Oh my gosh.
That is the best retirement gift. Truly.
Yeah. Well, the best part about dogs is every kid says, I'll take care of the dog. I'll walk the dog. I'll clean up the poop. Nope. Mom and Dad do it all the time. I took my dogs on the walk today, out there with the leashes getting pulled around. I think I tore my labrum today.
That's what we knew that was going to happen, right? It hasn't happened yet. They're doing great, but we know that's going to wear off, and then it'll be on me and Jenny, and that's kind of why we waited. We out of respect for her, I felt like that was a fair ask. She's taking care. She's like, I always ask her, hey, can you water the garden twice while I'm gone on this road trip? And my wife has the black thumb, so I'll come back not. So I got it all in irrigation now, but she's like, I watered your kids. Is that good enough? And so, So now I'm, now I'm going to help, take some of that load off her.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect timing. All right, so one more from me, because fans in our live chat here have had a lot of questions. I think this one stands out because I just forgot about it. New Country Songs goes, Wainwright, an all-time one that got away for the Bravos. Do you ever think back to that? Like, most people probably don't even realize, what was it, 2003? You got traded in that JD Drew deal, and like what life would have been like with Atlanta versus how life has turned out quite well for you in St. Louis.
Yeah. I honestly don't think about that a whole lot. I grew up a huge Braves fan, the biggest Braves fan there ever was. No one could ever tell me they were a bigger Braves fan than me growing up. And to play for that organization, they're just an incredible organization. They're probably going to win the World Series again this year if they handle their business like they can. It's run right. It's just great people. The players, there's a way over there that's winning baseball. They got great teachers of the game. They draft well. They do a great job. Being a part of that, it was great. I loved being there. I needed that scenery change to make the adjustments that I needed to make. Getting traded. If I'm handling my business the way I should have been, they don't trade me. That was not on them. That was on me. I needed to change. I needed to figure out a different system. And so getting changed to the Cardinals, getting traded to the Cardinals was such an incredible thing for me. And for them too in the time, because JD Drew played amazing that next year in 2004, helped them make the playoffs, helped them win that division. Unfortunately didn't stay for them, but and then I ended up staying here for a long time. But that's the way trading goes, man. Sometimes you have to trade for the near term, and sometimes you sacrifice the long term. And we've in the St. Louis system, we've seen that happen. We traded Sandy and we traded Zach Gallen, and that's what happens. But here's the thing: there's the tricky part about it in those trades, right? The fan base is going, we have to win now. Trade that. Like if you lose, whatever, it doesn't matter. Or you trade somebody now so we can win this year. It's all about very, very new stuff, right? And then 4 years later, you go, well, what the heck did you trade that guy for? But it's just there's this balance of baseball. The teams that GMs has got to be one of the most thankless jobs there is, because it's really hard to win either way.
Sounds like he's auditioning for one right now.
No, absolutely not.
That is way too time consuming.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Do you watch any of the other ceremonies? Do you watch any of the other ceremonies of the guys who are either Miggy definitely retiring or the possible Greinke, Votto? Did you watch any of their stuff?
I haven't watched. I've seen their walk off the field and last little thing from all of them. I've seen all those, and Crawford too over there in San Francisco. I have not seen a for sure I'm retiring from Votto. I haven't seen a for sure I'm retiring from Zach Greinke, which I'm assuming you'll never get from Zach Greinke. Not ever. Zach might play till he's 50. Who knows? But I will go back and watch those, because those are incredible players, and I would love to see what they did there. I'd be willing to bet, though, it wasn't cooler than what they did in St. Louis.
Man, you guys went all out. You had the coolest 16th birthday party, and now everybody else is just not as cool as Wainwright's.
That's what I think it was Miles Michaelis was saying. Well, if any of us retire ever in the next decade, we're going to be severely let down if it's not like this. And everybody started laughing.
They just needed bouncy houses. That's all they needed for your retirement. That's the only thing they didn't have was bouncy houses.
You didn't see those out there? They were there.
I didn't see it.
Waino, all right, before we let you go, you had Yachty there yesterday. You got an at bat. I'm pissed you didn't get a hit. All the shit you talked about how good of a hitter you were for all those years, rolling up the sleeves and BP. I thought we were going to go deep.
Yeah, I did too, man. I had visions of it. People were like, could you imagine getting a hit right there? I'm like, yeah, I was imagining hitting the Phillips 66 sign in the left center gap.
That's a good sign there.
I'll tell you, here's the truth of that moment. I was sitting over on the end of the bench down there, and I had my tennis shoes on, and I had just 1 minute before that sign went up. Just 1 minute before that, I walked over to Ollie and I said, hey, I know you were going to try to get me an at bat, but the game's at 4-3 right now. And out of respect to Miles in this game, I feel like we have an obligation to try to add on runs here. And if you want to put somebody else in there to get that at bat, dude, I think you should. I just think that's good baseball. And don't, dude, I'm good, man. What they did for me already is so over the top amazing. than bad. I had one the other day, which I hit 102 miles an hour, by the way. No big deal. But what they've already done, it was, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine. And he was like, all right, I appreciate it. And so I went and sat back down on the bench. And then 45 seconds, a minute later, somebody holds up a sign that says, we want to see Waino bat. And then all of a sudden, Yachty throws the sign up, and Ollie looks down at me and goes, go get your spikes on, dude. And so I'm like, oh, crap. All right. So I ran down. I put my spikes on, and I was on deck. No warm-up swings, nothing. No excuse. But got in the box, and I looked at the catcher. I said, hey, what's this guy got? And he goes, dude, he's firm. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to cheat like crazy here and get out in front and maybe yank one foul if I have to. And I saw the first one. I'm like, I wasn't ready for that. I was a little bit more firm than I was ready for. And I think it was a ball, though. I think it was outside. I'm pretty sure it was outside. But that's all right. That's beside the point. Umpiring's hard. No problems. But I do feel like I missed one pitch that he gave me to hit. Other than that, the last pitch I swung and missed that. It was, probably a ball down, but it just exploded. And AJ, them shadows are no joke, man. Those are tough.
So now we're using umpires and shadows.
Yeah.
Oh,
no excuses.
Man.
No excuses.
Wow.
No excuses.
Well,
just facts. Just facts.
At least you
Pitching's
didn't go
easy.
That's true. At least you didn't go Joey Votto and get kicked out of your last game. So way to go. Well, all right. So.
I actually had several players want me to because I've never been tossed at any level, and although I did try to one time, I was as mean as I could be, and I still didn't get tossed out. But I did have several guys going, the only thing you've not done is get tossed out. You got to get tossed out. Joey just got tossed out. Go get tossed out. I'm like, dude, I'm not going out like that, man. That wouldn't be right. But
no, you should have got tossed after the first pitch because you were hitting, and then whoever came in after you would have had to wear your strikeout, so your stats would have stayed the same, right?
Yeah, I know. If I was hitting 199 or 201, I might have done that, AJ. I might have done that.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. We're gonna let you go, but two things. One, you should have got a pitch clock violation because that when the catcher walked out in front, that wasn't planned, so the umpire should have given you a strike for not being ready. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. And now get excited because on Friday night in Houston, you get to go to Vic and Anthony's, I believe, and you're gonna get your A5 Wagyu. And yes, you won't have to pay for it. So we will see you in Houston. Congratulations, Waino. You're one of the best teammates I ever had. Congratulations, Mr. 200. And I'll see you on Friday.
That's got a good ring to it.
It does.
All right. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Waino. Have a great call this weekend. We'll see you soon, dude.
Okay. See y'all.
Cheers. Awesome. Got to get a picture from that little dinner.
Yeah. I'll tweet it out.
Yeah.
He was so scared to ask, though.
You like the Wagyu?
It's good. I mean, it's rich, man. It's like eating dessert.
It is. I had it for dessert.
I mean, it is like eating dessert. I mean, it is rich.
The little thin strip.
Oh yeah, they do it right though. I got to admit, they do it right.
I had it when I was over in Japan. It was a $550 steak.
Did you pay for it?
I bought one for my dad and for me.
Wow.
I mean,
for you.
$11 in 2 bites.
Well, yeah. I don't know if that applies here, but okay.
Went in Japan.
Yeah, went in Tokyo.
Let's laugh. Kratz hats, what do you got? Uh-oh.
Sounds like we're ampy.
Yeah, we are amping right now.
My socks, just found it. Number 46. Got my Sox hat. I think it's a BP hat, but I'm not sure. I didn't spend enough time there, so I assume this isn't some kind of like alternate jersey hat, but found that in the bottom of my 2.5 days as a Red Sox.
Love it.
In honor of Wakefield today.
Yep.
All right, let's bring in our amp caller because I think we're doubling up. Do we sound like squirrels right now?
Yeah, I sound like you're on helium.
All right, amp caller, name, theme, and unmute.
Hey guys, my name's Kevin. My favorite team is the San Diego Padres, but I was curious about which game out of the four you guys are most excited about tomorrow and which one might shock us the most.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Uh-oh. Turn off if you can. We're sounding like squirrels.
I kind of like it. It's going to be a whole show. The people.
There we go.
We're back. We're good.
No more helium.
All right, go ahead. Answer Kevin's question, Kratz.
I think the best series is going to be the Jays series. I think it's going to be a 3-game series. I think there's going to be a ton of really mediocre baseball, and they're going to be close games. I think the other ones are going to be not as close. I think they're going to be 2-game series, but I think the Jays are just on fumes. I think their starting pitching is going to strike out the world, and then from there it's going to be and I think the Twins are going to hold down a lineup that hasn't really been doing much recently. And so I'm going with that. That's going to be the most intriguing series because I think it'll go 3 games. I think the others will be 2 and outs.
Wow. You think all 2 and outs besides 1?
I do.
Wow. Okay. All right. For me, listen, you're saying Montgomery's not going to pitch well tomorrow against Tampa?
Oh,
that's your guy.
Oh, I'm not saying no. I mean, I think he'll pitch well. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying that the series. He asked which series am I most interested in, or did he say which game?
No, he said series,
Oh,
and
okay.
also Glasnow's going up against him.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good, and Rangers. I know day to day it doesn't carry over, but man, their offense shit the bed
Surprise
on
is good.
Sunday.
The surprise is going to be when the Marlins beat the Phillies with Luzardo and Braxton Garrett and
that would be a surprise.
And manager of the year, Skip
Schumacher. Yeah.
How many runs will they score to beat the Phillies?
All they're going to have to do is score 2. One
That's
each
it?
day. One each day.
Okay.
You know, you're
I
so
know that's
full
not
of it.
happening.
I will be surprised if that's not a 2-gamer.
Dude, the Marlins won the season series.
Yep.
Okay.
People forget that. I'm just saying.
Who's game 1?
Luzardo.
Who's game 2?
Braxton Garrett.
Okay. No, hey.
Who's game 3?
Luzardo's got good stuff.
Sandy.
You catch Luzardo on a good day. Right. Game 3's a bullpen day. Whew.
Luzardo's pretty good, dude. Braxton Garrett's underrated. I'm just saying.
I agree.
saying.
Those guys can pitch him into games.
And
I agree.
You know what they can do? They can handle the lefties for the Phillies, and they throw those cutters in on those righties they have. I mean, listen, it's not ideal for the Marlins, but would you rather have Sandy and Yuri Perez and
Hell
Luzardo?
yeah.
Of course, but Luzardo's pretty good. 99 from the left side plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll break it down more tomorrow, I assume. But the Marlins, my issue with Luzardo and Braxton Garrett is in the playoffs, you have to kind of pitch to lanes, and you stay in those lanes until you are forced to get out of them. Open bases, you can just stay in these lanes. I feel like Luzardo throws balls up there that he gets outs through opposite lanes than you would think of, and I don't think he necessarily is pinpoint with his location like I feel like you need to be in the playoffs.
Okay, you know who's pitching game 3 for the Marlins? Revenge game. Sixto Sanchez.
Stop it. I wish.
That dude was filthy in the playoffs in 20.
I saw him this year. I saw a video of him this year. That's tough. Tough shoulder injuries.
Yeah, shoulders are the worst, man.
Yep.
By the way, we need to give a high five because today's the 30th anniversary. Or no, sorry, not 30th anniversary. The anniversary, though, of Dusty Baker inventing the high five.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Allegedly. That's what they think it was?
I still feel like there was a caveman who did it, and we're just not
saying. Dusty Baker. That's why I picked the Astros to win the World Series. Dusty Baker.
Amp, if you want to be the next caller, we do it every day at Foul Territory. Join the show, follow for free. And it's not just America's pregame show, it is Earth's pregame show for the playoffs on Tuesday. We will be on, as we normally are, at 1 o'clock Eastern time, and we will preview the games because they're not starting games at 1. So we are here for you. Okay?
True. Thank goodness they're not. That's why they're not. They didn't want to compete with FT.
That is true. There are some shows at 1 o'clock
ESPN and TBS
that they didn't want to touch.
And by the way, happy birthday, Eddie Guardado. Everyday Eddie.
Happy
America's
birthday,
closer.
Eddie.
America's closer.
And Kyle Wright, Braves need you.
America's closer.
And Lance McCullers Jr., we miss you.
Yeah, true.
And we'll see
Aaron Hicks, we'll see you in Baltimore.
Yeah, Aaron Hicks.
By the way,
Donaldson are
also
in
for the
playoffs.
record, I was in Baltimore on Saturday. There was like 5 dudes wearing Foul Territory shirts in the Orioles clubhouse.
Oh shit!
Because
Waino
these shirts are
Hurd,
absolutely epic.
Gibby, Adam Frazier. Hicks couldn't put one on because he couldn't get over his bald head.
I changed my picks. Orioles are winning the World Series. See
They had
you on
like 5
Tuesday.
dudes rocking around in them. I was like,
Hicks shouldn't have had one. He needs to come on the show to get one.
Text his ass. Let's get him tomorrow.
Yeah, need it.